Brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome into Sportstime. Bryant Dacus, Zach Boyd, the Aldwin Seabury. We're all here with you on a Monday afternoon. No Brett Norsworthy again today, but he'll be back tomorrow and back and better than ever after taking a couple of days off. Plenty to get to today, a lot to talk about. Obviously, NBA playoffs. Got the conference finals all set after a really wild weekend of games. Major League Baseball, a lot of news, a lot of things going on there. Even maybe some college baseball with those conference tournaments set to start this week. And then we'll get to the regular tournaments next week. Some NFL news, college basketball news, plenty of stuff to get to. We'll have David Cobb joining us at 4 o'clock. Talk college football, college basketball. We'll also have DeMichael Cole at 5 o'clock joining us to talk the NBA. Plenty to get to when it comes to both the Grizzlies and just the NBA playoffs with DeMichael. It was announced earlier today the all NBA rookie teams were announced earlier today. First team had a lot of names I think a lot of people would expect. Victor Wembanyama, Chet Holmgren kind of led the way on that team. But on the second team, G.G. Jackson gets a nod to the all-rookie second team, which I think some people, I know Desmond Bain, DeMichael wrote about during the season, had kind of talked about how G.G. deserved to be on the on an all-rookie player. But now we actually know he is named one of the all-rookie players, which is huge. There were some other big names that weren't there. I know most notably Scoot Henderson was not listed on either the first or second all-rookie team. So G.G. Jackson being a second-round pick and kind of the Grizzlies being in dire need of a player, just somebody to get out there. G.G. Jackson played really well, played his role really well, and showed kind of that potential and gets rewarded by second-team all-rookie. I know, Zach, I'm sure a lot of people got to be excited about that and what that means for his future.
Oh, definitely, because I could guarantee you nobody saw him playing this much, and not only to play this much, but play so well with so many players not being able to play and everything. So, this is kudos to Gigi for getting this award, because I think some of the national media personalities they didn't have him on the second team, or they didn't have him on the all rookie team at all, and I was just sitting there like, you're like, are you sure you want to leave out Gigi? Like he was playing well, even though the team wasn't as good,
Yeah, but that would hold him back a little bit as the Grizzlies really struggling this year, and most games kind of being just like, Gigi, get out there, all these 10 days that we have signed, get out there. But no, he played really well and got rewarded by making the second team all rookie, which is huge, and I think is definitely big. I think this Grizzlies team has a bright future, and now I know a lot of talk. We're going to talk a ton of NBA today throughout the show, but a lot of people kind of talking now. Zach, you kind of put me on it this morning because I'll be completely honest, I was not on social media a ton this weekend, but a lot of people frustrated that the Timberwolves have gotten this far and the Grizzlies obviously kind of struggling this season. I think a lot of people have this negative idea in their head of the Timberwolves because of that series a couple years ago between the Grizzlies and the Timberwolves and whatever. And so I think it frustrates people. I know it felt like, I don't know if it was like the first round or maybe even just the start of this round where, like, the big question, every show, everybody in Memphis was asking it, like, do you root for the Timberwolves? Like, what do you think about the Timberwolves? And everyone's like, no, I hate the Timberwolves. I hate Cat. I hate Rudy Gobert. I hate this team. But I like Mike Conley, so I'll root for him. And so it's been weird, but they get the win last night in an unbelievable, just a wild game. Maybe one of the wilder games of the postseason. We also had the Pacers with a big win over the Knicks in Madison Square Garden, a performance that I guess you could kind of see coming because of those injuries for the Knicks, but I did not expect to see. I mean, just seeing the Indiana Pacers win in that fashion in Madison Square Garden really kind of shocked me. And then the day before that, we had Dallas with their win over OKC in what was another really fun series. So we'll talk about all of that today over the next 3 hours. We'll talk about it. Like I said, DeMichael Cole will join us to talk about it. So plenty of talk on that. Preakness over the weekend, Sees the Gray one, if people care about that. I didn't watch, I'll be honest. I said on Friday I was going to watch, and then I completely forgot about it, Zach. I'll be completely honest. I went out to dinner that night. I think I just went and grabbed Moe's, and I'm standing in line, and I get either like an ESPN notification or like a Twitter notification. It was like something about the Preakness. I was like, oh no, that's today. And so I tried to pull my phone out and pull it up quick enough to try to find it. And by the time I pulled it up, I mean, it was over. I think they were already talking to Sees the Gray's either trainer or owner or something like that. And so I didn't even watch it, but Sees the Gray wins. That was Lee Aldwin's pick when we made our picks on Friday. I told him, and I promise you, because I know people who do this, who anytime anything happens that it comes to picking and they didn't pick the winner, they'll be like, oh, well, he was gonna be my choice. I was gonna choose him, but I just decided not to. And that's their excuse for everything. So I'm not gonna make that excuse. But I'm gonna be honest, I had Sees the Gray winning it. And then throughout the day, just hearing all the guests on this station, from mornings with Greg and Eli, all the way to our show, I just heard so many people saying, Sees the Gray's good horse. But Sees the Gray doesn't like to run in the rain. It's not a mutter, as they call him. And so I switched my pick, and I went with Uncle Heavy, maybe? Who everyone was telling me, oh, great mudding horse. Oh, if it's mudding, it's his weather. He loves running in the mud, whatever that means. And I don't think he had a good day. All I know, Sees the Gray wins. I think Mystic Dan came in second, I believe. So just shy of that second leg for the Triple Crown. And then the one thing I was watching all weekend long, and I did not think it was going to grab my attention the way it did. Maybe I should have. It's a major, obviously. But I could not take my eyes off the PGA Championship, especially yesterday when it was coming down to the wire and you had Xander out there playing well and, all those guys that were around him. I mean, it was kind of like it was several guys that would kind of make a run at him, and then he'd get one or two strokes ahead, and then he'd kind of fall, and someone else would come up. I know at the beginning it was Colin Morikawa was right there with him going into the day. Then Colin kind of faded yesterday, but then you had DeChambeau out of nowhere, start playing really well. Then you had Victor Hovland was right there in the mix late, and it was just so much fun to watch. I mean, that tournament this weekend for the PGA Championship, I know we've kind of gotten all the off the course stuff going with Scotty Scheffler and his arrest, and then him coming back on that Friday playing extremely well. Saturday didn't really have a good day. Probably tough to get some sleep that night. I mean, you got to think about it. He's probably rolling on adrenaline all day Friday. You get arrested that morning, you get out, you go play golf. I mean, you're probably running high all day. And then that night, you're probably just holy cow, I got arrested this morning. There's a chance I could get charged with a felony. Some real stuff that you probably, that probably was going through his mind Friday night. Probably not a great night of sleep. Comes out on Saturday. And it's okay. He didn't have a terrible day, but it certainly wasn't his best day. And then I learned, I didn't know this, Zach, his caddy stepped away on Saturday because I guess his daughter's was graduating, and so he didn't have his caddy. I know Johnny Radio earlier today was trying to almost use that as the reason Scotty Scheffler struggled on Saturday, was because he didn't have his regular caddy with him, which maybe there is something to that. I am no caddy. I know they're smart people and give good advice to those golfers. So between all of that to the actual what was going on the course of play, it was a really fun weekend. I don't know how much the PGA probably likes Valhalla after this weekend. I know Greg was tweeting, I'm sure he talked about it this morning as well, but it's a major, and you've got the winner. What did he finish off? 20 under, I think, or 21 under?
21 under.
21 under. That doesn't scream major golf to me. Like, when I think of the majors, I'm thinking of, like, your winner winning at, like, 4 under or 5 under, right? Like what was the Master? I'm curious. I don't even remember now. What was the Masters winning score? It certainly was nowhere near 20 under. But I don't, like, I want to say it was probably around, like,
Chef
11 under.
Yeah, Chef was 11 under.
That is much closer to what I want it to be, not 21 under.
But the difference between Scheffler and Oberg was -4.
Well, that's a good point. There's certainly more intrigue this weekend because you had, I think a lot of people thought it was going to go to a playoff. I was just holding out hope, Xander, because I felt, and Brett, me and him can have this conversation tomorrow, but Brett told me Thursday, he wasn't here Friday, but he told me Wednesday after I made the pick. He told me Thursday while, play was actually beginning and Xander was hot that morning. He said, this is how it always goes in the majors for Xander. He starts off hot, he plays well, and then comes Saturday or Sunday, he can't put it together, and, he ends up losing. Boy, Sunday afternoon, let me tell you, I was a mess. I was going, oh, man, Xander, all I need you to do is just keep playing the way you're playing. And then I think he ended up, like, bogeying, like, 15 or 16, and I was like, oh, no. This is not how I wanted it to happen. And I thought that was going to be the thing that was slow roll. And I was super worried because right behind me was Bryson DeChambeau, who was Lee Aldwin's pick. And he had him in the shock pick. And so it would have been quadruple because it's a major. I mean, he would have been way out ahead. And so I was like praying, like, oh my gosh, do not let DeChambeau come back and win this. Please, please, please. DeChambeau, I think, got a lot of points over the weekend. I don't know if y'all saw this video, but he's walking from one green to the next tee, and he tosses a golf ball to, like, a young child. And a grown man reaches out and grabs it and starts, like, running off because he's like, all right, I got it. Let's go. And Bryson stops and starts screaming at him.
Oh, so that's where the photo comes from.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, he is just, hey, hey, hey. And finally the guy, like I think some people, like, chased him down and was like, dude, you got to go. You got to go back. And so he starts, like, walking back. Bryson's just, you give him that ball. That ball wasn't for you. That was for the kid. He's a kid. Give it to him. I was like, whoa. And Bryson's a big guy. Like, you don't want to mess with Bryson.
You don't want to mess with Bryson.
Like, so
no parts of it.
No. Like, if I was listing the golfers that I would not want to mess with, like, he's high up there. Maybe top 3. I might put that together. By the end of the show, we might have, like, top 5 golfers you don't want to mess with. I'm trying to think of other people who would be up there.
It's like Koepka could.
Koepka's a big guy. Koepka works out everywhere he goes. Like, I've learned in the past, every stop he goes, I guess it might be different now that he's on Live, but every stop he went to when he was with PGA, he would get a gym membership at a gym there for like a week, and he would just go in at like 5 o'clock in the morning and work out. So yeah, he's certainly there. Don't want to mess with those two guys, and they had like a feud for a while. But it was a good weekend at Valhalla, a really intriguing tournament, and Xander. I told Brett, Xander won gold at the Olympics last time we had the Olympics.
Yes,
so maybe he's trying to get back into, form for the Olympics and defend his gold medal.
Yeah.
This is certainly the start, I guess.
Yeah, I'm much like you. I am happy as well.
You had a really good weekend.
Yeah, Xander was. I wasn't I expected Xander to have a pretty decent weekend.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting him to lead the whole tournament all 4 days.
Not at all. And especially, like you said, the way he did it, all 4 days. Doesn't really happen very often. Did I tell you about when we made picks Wednesday afternoon and how my second pick went?
No.
Okay. So y'all do it differently for Dave's show. Y'all do just 3 golfers you want, right?
Yeah, 3 golfers.
So we do 2 picks, and we do a lock, which is any golfer, and then a shock, which is any golfer 26 or lower, 26 or out of the top 25 OWRG points. So Wednesday when we were making picks, it was a busy day. I had a lot going on. I'm like, oh man, I gotta make I got to write down some names for golf picks. So I start writing them down. I'm like, okay, I really like Xander this week, and he's going to be my first pick. And then maybe I'll go with this guy. I had like maybe 2 or 3 listed for my locks. So then for my shocks, I was like, all right, I need like a couple names. I usually have 4 names because we have 4 picks for the shock. I just want to make sure that no matter what, I have backup plans, whatever. So I wrote down Brooks Koepka as my first shock, which I was like, Brooks will still be there. Like I had the second pick in the shock. Lee Aldwin was taking Bryson DeChambeau. So I was like, Brooks will be there. But then I was like, I need a backup for him. And I usually have 3 backups. But my backup, I wrote Ludvig Åberg, the young Swedish player from Texas Tech.
Yeah.
And then I didn't write down anybody after that, which my mistake. I've never done that before. This is the first time I've done it. So we get to picks. We do all our lock picks. Brett takes Brooks Koepka with his first pick as a lock. I was like, what are we doing? So we come back around for shocks. Lee Aldwin takes Bryson DeChambeau. So now I'm sitting there. The only person I have listed on my list is Ludvig Åberg, who's like 23 years old. He hadn't even had a full year of PGA play under his belt. This is like his second major. I go, I'll take Ludvig Åberg. There's a silence. I'm like,
It was a hush.
maybe that was a really good pick. And John Goen, our great guest from Timber Trust, goes, who? Go Ludvig Åberg, the young kid. He goes, isn't he like ranked 7th in the world? Oh no. And so I keep up with Ludvig every weekend when he's playing. So I don't know what happened to me to think. Maybe I'm thinking it was last year. I don't know what happened, but so then I panicked because I don't have anybody left on my list. I picked Dustin Johnson. You know what Dustin Johnson did this weekend?
Oh, I could have told you what happened on the 12th hole that he was on. That was nasty.
I mean, my mind's just racing at that point because we're literally like, it's like 4:27. We're trying to get to a break, so I'm trying to wrap up. I don't have anybody listed. I need to make a pick. The pressure is on, and the first person that comes to my mind is Dustin freaking Johnson. Did not work out for me. I wish I had gone with like Cam Smith. If I was going to go the live route, should have gone like Cam Smith or somebody who would at least make the cut. Ridiculous, but at least we got a winner out of it, and good picking for Lee Aldwin on his first time getting second place with a shock pick. That's pretty good.
And I was nervous.
Congratulations to you too for your picks in the morning.
Oh yeah. At one point, Xander, Colin Morikawa, and Scotty Scheffler were top 3 on the leaderboard.
You're feeling real good then. Well, maybe we can carry this into another week.
I sent the text to Dave. I said, "Hey, stop the match.
Yeah,
let's stop it here.
Yes.
Let's call it
Yes.
the PGA Championship,
Exactly.
and let's move on to the next
I'm
one."
100% with you. But it was a lot of fun. I did not expect to talk that much golf to start the show, but that's how much fun it was over the weekend. I really did enjoy watching the PGA Championship over the weekend. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30. All NBA playoff talk. What a wild weekend it was in the NBA. We'll talk about the 2 games from yesterday, but more importantly, the game from last night. That was really interesting. We'll also talk about Dallas winning over OKC. We'll maybe even preview these matchups for the next round. 3:45. Talk some Tigers. It was a busy weekend for the Memphis Tigers. They pick up 2 commitments on the football side of things. One, very interesting, he'll be a freshman, played at Germantown this past season, enrolled early, I guess, at Purdue, practiced in the spring with them, then decided maybe that wasn't for him, and now he is committed to the University of Memphis. Other guy comes from an FCS school, so we'll talk about that. Got to talk about David Jones after his week of the NBA Combine, and then Tiger Baseball comes to an end. I do want to take a second to talk about the baseball season. 4 o'clock, David Cobb from CBS Sports. He'll join us, talk some college football and college baseball. Plenty to get to with David. 4:30, we'll talk some more baseball, Major League Baseball. We've already got 1-game final today, part of a doubleheader between the Braves and the Padres. 1 game going on right now between the White Sox and the Blue Jays. So we'll talk some baseball. 4:45, big number of the day. 5 o'clock, DeMichael Cole, the Grizzlies beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal. He'll join us. We'll talk some Grizzlies, but we'll also talk the NBA playoffs, get his thoughts on everything that happened in that game, in those games yesterday, and really over the weekend in the NBA. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending, and at 5:45, wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Get over there for factory direct pricing on swimming pools, spas, and patio furniture. It's patio season. Come by Family Leisure and check out the new 2024 patio furniture sets. Pool season will be here before we know it, so buy now to get in line for your pool installation and get pre-season pricing. Save $1,000 to $5,000 on all spas and swim spas. Also, special pricing on all in-stock saunas, theater seating, pool tables, and outdoor kitchens, but only at Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. Let me remind you, text in, call in all afternoon on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line, 901-360-8255. Be a part of the conversation. Like I said, a lot of NBA talk, some Tiger talk. We're talking a little bit of everything, so make sure you text in your thoughts to 901-360-8255. And as always, this first hour brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. We always want to thank Lexus for being a sponsor of this first hour, being with us, but make sure you get over to Lexus of Memphis. Not a better time, I think, than as we get closer to summer to go and get that new car. They've got plenty on the lot, and they've got great employees, great customer service to get you with your perfect car. So make sure you head out to Lexus of Memphis, and always, we thank them for being with us for this first hour. But let's go ahead and get to top story of the day.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day, it's got to be these NBA playoffs. What a weekend it was in the NBA, and really those two games we saw last night. Really, the one that had everybody talking, Timberwolves with the big win over the Denver Nuggets, and then, oh man, the media doing what they always do, Zach, asking stupid questions. Mike Malone didn't like it, did not appreciate the questions being asked. I mean, you know, I see it both sides. Media, they got to do their job. They've got to ask these questions. They've got to write something. But also, coaches, the last thing they want to do is be sitting up there and talking about the details that led to a Game 7 loss at home. So, I mean, I don't know if I would have gone out during the press conference and said that was a stupid question, but I'm sure there are plenty of coaches that after games, after they're done with press conferences, they're walking away with one of their assistant coaches. They finally get done with the press conference, or in college, they're walking with their SID, and they go, man, you know, they ask some really stupid questions in there. I mean, there's not many coaches that really like doing post-game press conferences, especially after losses. But it was an interesting game. Like I said, a 98-90 win for the Timberwolves over the Nuggets. People always say the game of two halves, but this one was really like a game of four quarters. You really never knew. I mean, start of a quarter, what's going to happen this quarter? And it was really, really fun. Denver came out, and it was really all Denver the entire first and most of the second quarter. I think they closed that first half on like a massive run that gave them a big lead going into the break. But then in the second half, it was all Timberwolves. They flipped the switch. They outscore the Nuggets 28-14 in the third quarter. But in the fourth quarter, it looked like Denver was going to start something. They kind of close in, get it close, and you would think, all right, at home, Nikola Jokic, those other guys they have out there, Denver's going to be able to win this game, but too little, too late. Timberwolves able to make plays down the stretch and secure that win. Like I said, 98-90. Really, really fun. And then, who would have thought? I know they have the injuries, but the Pacers able to walk into Madison Square Garden and get a 130-109 win over the Knicks. I mean, that was kind of, you know, eyebrow raising. I thought, okay, toss up going into Game 7. I think either of these teams can win. But man, when you talk about 130 points to 109, a really, really good win for the Pacers. So now Pacers and Celtics in the East, Timberwolves and Dallas in the West. We'll talk more about all of these games in our next segment. And I want to know who you are going for. I want to know who the listeners are going for, especially in this Western Conference. Dallas or Minnesota. I think a lot of people are going against Minnesota here, at least from what I've seen on social media. But I'm curious, text in 901-360-8255. Who are you cheering for? Not who do you think's going to win, but who are you rooting for between Dallas and Minnesota?
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, it's got to be what happened at the PGA Championship. We spent a lot of time talking about it in this segment, but Xander Schauffele gets the win, his first major victory on the PGA Tour. But what a win it was. It was exciting. It was, he was in the lead all 4 days, which was fun to see. But it was really the ending that it came down to, and really all the stories that you had all weekend long. Obviously, still just the heartbreaking news that someone lost their life on a Friday morning, but what that led to with Scottie Scheffler being arrested to coming out and playing really well. But then yesterday, down the stretch, I had to run some errands yesterday, and I was making sure that I had my phone in my hand at all times, watching the action on the PGA Tour, which honestly doesn't happen very often for me. Sure, maybe in majors, but I can't remember off the top of my head when the last major was that I had to go somewhere and I was like, I gotta watch this while I'm at this store or while I'm doing this. I was grocery shopping yesterday. I had to have it while I was grocery shopping to keep an eye on that leaderboard. So it was thrilling. It was, I think a lot of people were tuned in to see what was going to happen down the stretch. So good for Xander. I'm happy that he was able to get that victory yesterday for both personal reasons and just for him. I think Xander Schauffele has been a guy that has been so consistent on the tour, has been one of those guys that I think you always talk about as being one of those better players on the tour. But, when you talk about being a great player on the tour, it's, having those major wins, and he's just not been able to crack through, but able to do it yesterday. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. And when we come back, we talked a little bit about it, but the NBA playoffs over the weekend, the conference finals are set. So let's get to a break. When we come back, we're talking NBA. That's next on Sports Time.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Are you aware? It's patio season. Family Leisure sure is. That's why they have factory direct pricing on swimming pools, spas, and even, yes, patio furniture. Yes, sir. It's indeed patio season. So come by Family Leisure and check out all the brand new 2024 patio furniture sets. And with patio season here, you know that pool season will be here before you even know it. So buy now to get in line for your pool installation and get preseason pricing. Plus, you could save $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, even up to $5,000 on all spas and swim spas. Family Leisure has got special pricing on all in-stock saunas, theater seating, pool tables, and even outdoor kitchens. I love it when it's patio season because of all the fantastic deals that Family Leisure makes available just for you. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
It's time to get to Gossett Kia on the Pike so Bobby J can put you in your new Kia today. Want summer fun and 41 MPG? We Gossett with 2024 Kia Forte LXS. $199 a month, $34.99 due at signing. How about 282 miles of EPA estimated range with new 2023 Kia EV6 Win? $249 a month. Get extra room and extra fun with 2024 Kia Telluride LX. $357 a month, both $39.99 due at signing. All 24-month lease plus 0% APR for 48 months. Available on the all-new Kia EV9. And peace of mind with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So hurry to Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike. Online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Include all rebates and incentives. Price excludes $695 PF. Lease includes PF $695, $650 acquisition fee, EV6 P5610964, MSRP $50,200, Telluride RG 510,849, MSRP $38,305, Forte LXS RE 78169, MSRP $21,820. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 5/31/2024 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Are you looking for a better way to sell farm, construction, or fleet equipment? Purple Wave Auction takes the hassle out of selling heavy equipment. Our experienced auction professionals make the entire process easy, and will market each asset not just to our enormous equipment buying community, but specifically to the right bidders who are eager to purchase your specific assets. We'll handle the paperwork and payments so you can get back to running your business. Join the growing list of happy sellers who don't just sell but succeed with Purple Wave Auction. Straight, simple, sold.
Get ready, because the Gossett Mitsubishi Motors Summer Sales Event is on, and now is the best time to buy. You want 43 MPG Highway? We Gossett in 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage, $18,960 or $279 a month. 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, we Gossett, $27,350 or $399 per month. And your summer adventure starts with 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander SE, we Gossett, $29,865 or $449 a month. Plus, every Gossett Mitsubishi comes with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, online 24/7 at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Mirage RHFO 9083, MSRP 19460, Sport RUO 110 764, MSRP 28070, Outlander RZO 53896, MSRP 30895, PF 695, acquisition fee 595, 15 cents excess mileage, excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawild Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Just a couple of minor wrecks out here in the last hour or so. It looks pretty decent right now. 240 getting on to 385 Billmore Parkway as you head outbound. Yes, it's already crowded over here on 240 East, working your way up past Poplar as traffic increases coming off 240 there onto Lamar, going outbound down into Olive Branch. Hey, 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in Memphis. Make it Tomahawk Crane and Rigging online at tomahawkcrane.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
All right, Zach, I talked about it for a second before we went to a break, and I said I was going to ask both of y'all, so I want both of y'all's answers. Who are you rooting for in the Dallas and Minnesota series? Not who do you think's going to win? Who are you rooting for? If you had to pick a side, I'm cheering for this team. Who would it be?
I'm thinking Dallas in my mind.
Okay. Lee Albin? He's not listening.
No, that's okay.
We'll write him down for Minnesota.
You pulling Minnesota?
I'm not, but we're gonna write Lee Albin.
I feel like he will go over Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm gonna write Minnesota down for him. I'm with you, Zach. I'm rooting for Dallas. A lot of different reasons, but I really like, which I've heard so many different opinions on this, but personally, I love watching Luka play. And there's some people like Johnny Radio who feels like can't stand watching Luka play. But I love watching Luka play. Love watching Kyrie. Derek Lively has been really fun to watch as a rookie. So yeah, I think I'm rooting for Dallas. I'm just hoping for a really fun series. If we get anything close to what we got from these two teams in the series that they just got done with, I think it's going to be a great series. Obviously, Minnesota, the defense they've been able to play, and to be able to defeat the defending champs in Denver, it's huge. You've got Anthony Edwards, who is blossoming into a leader for that franchise, but also a star in this league, and is not afraid to talk the talk sometimes. And last night there was a lot of people talking about, and it looked like Jokic didn't really like it, but while time was running down, he's dribbling the ball up the court, waving at all the fans goodbye, and then he tosses it to I forgot who he threw it to, but they tried to like toss it off the backboard and dunk it, or like bounce it off the ground and dunk it, and Denver didn't like that too much.
Yeah, that was Jaden McDaniels.
Was it McDaniels? I can't remember who exactly it was. And then there was another video after the game where he's like walking around. I don't know who he went over, but he went over and was like dapping somebody up and was like hype about it. And then he like pointed at like this old man. Like, guy had to be like 75, 80 years old. But this old Denver Nuggets fan. And he just starts pointing at him and just like screaming at him. And he's like, "Who do you think you are? Who do y'all think y'all are? This is my house." And I was like, whoa, I like it. And so I think Anthony Edwards is gaining a lot of fans and a lot of talk, because it seems like I've seen people on both sides. There's some people that love Anthony Edwards and loves the way he plays, loves the way he goes about the game, talking and stuff like that. And then there's other people that don't like it and don't like him. But this Timberwolves team has been fun to watch. And then on the other side with Dallas, you've got this team that has those two superstars. And Zach, I think you brought it up, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you brought this up a couple weeks ago talking about, is the three superstar team kind of that big three that we all really got used to in the modern age with the Miami Heat, with LeBron and Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade, and then it seemed like a lot of other teams tried to recreate that big three. But you were saying, are we done with the big three and now kind of like a big two? And certainly that's what Dallas has right now with Kyrie and Luka, but then you have all these other pieces that have stepped up and played their roles extremely well. PJ Washington, what he did in those first couple games against OKC, where he's, averaging like 25 points a game, coming up big, but then also later in the games where he's having, he's scoring, I think, game 6, where he had maybe 9 points going into the last couple minutes of the fourth quarter, but then had 2 massive buckets that really were able to pull them away. Or maybe that was game 5, one of the games. And so, I think this is going to be a really good matchup between two teams. But I don't know. I think when you look at what Minnesota brings defensively, they can make it really difficult for the Dallas Mavericks. And I don't know, you might be forced, if you're the Mavericks, to play lively extended minutes to try to just match the bigness of Minnesota.
Yeah, I think the difference is that the Mavs have the bigs to rotate.
That's true.
Because I think Maxi Kleber is supposed to be making his way back.
Okay, that's good. That'd be huge.
Yeah, so you're talking about Kleber, Lively, Gafford, and Washington.
That's some good guys to rotate through. They're all athletic. They can all run with Gobert and Cat. So that'd be good. I also love. I've seen so many people over the last 48 hours kind of calling Cat out on the different voices he uses, and we talked about it last week of where he kind of has this more high pitched voice, but then had that one interview last year or 2 years ago when they played the Grizzlies where he was like, yeah, we just come out here and just really try to defend the house. And I was like, what are you doing? Big Purr is what everyone's calling him.
Big Purr.
Big Purr. And so, which kind of makes me uncomfortable, I'm not going to lie.
It makes you what, saying that?
Yeah, I don't know. Big Purr. I just don't like that. But
it's all right.
I think it's going to be a fun series. I thought it was huge last night. I mean, I think you talk about this series between Denver and Minnesota, and the biggest thing was if Minnesota wants to win, you've got to have a big game from Anthony Edwards. And last night did not have a huge night scoring the ball, but was still, effective and was kind of playing that facilitator role and, made plays that mattered and they were able to get the win and an 8-point win, which I thought was really big for them as well. So that would be a fun matchup. I don't know what days we'll make our picks for that series, but certainly before that first game starts, we'll make picks on who we think wins. And I don't know, I'm kind of up in the air right now. I'd love to see Dallas get there, but this Minnesota team has also been kind of fun to watch. And I know, there's a lot of people, it seems like, in this city that aren't rooting for Minnesota and don't really want to see them succeed. On the other side, though, in the East, that one is going to be interesting. The Pacers, I don't think anybody thought they would be here, and I think you could make an argument that they're here because of all the injuries that the opponents in these first two rounds have had. Talk about Milwaukee in the first round where they're down Damian Lillard and Giannis for most of that series. They're able to beat them and make it to the second round. And now the Knicks, it seemed like everybody was kind of banged up. Everybody was hurting for sure. But you also had, OG Anunoby missed most of that series. Came back yesterday, then got injured again during that game and left and wasn't able to come back. So, New York was certainly dealing with injuries, which definitely hurt them. But Pacers get through yet again, and now they find themselves in the conference finals against the Boston Celtics. So I think everyone says it kind of runs through Boston. When you just look at this series, Zach, what do you expect from these two teams? Because I think on face value, I think just quickly looking at it, I think everyone says, yeah, Boston should be able to roll against the Pacers. But I don't know. Is it close? Do you think the series is closer than maybe people would think it would be?
I think it's going to be close because, and this is based purely on the Porzingis injury.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, I'm not going to call it a runaway if Porzingis is back, but I think it's a little bit favored in the Celtics' way if Porzingis is available to play. The biggest thing the biggest thing that I think that would be the difference is can the Pacers keep up this hot shooting that they are on?
Yesterday, they couldn't miss.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Can they keep up the hot shooting, and can they continue to do that ball pressure, picking up full court like they did with the Bucks and with the Knicks? Because again, like you got three. Well, I was gonna say four guys, but you got three guys that you can throw the ball to, and they can handle the ball and get it up the court pretty easily.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's huge. And if the Pacers can do anything like they did, I pulled it up so I get the exact numbers. 67.1% from the field. 54.2% from three.
Yeah,
that is incredible. If they can do anything close like that, which I don't think they'll be able to, then yeah, it would be a very competitive series. Because that was kind of the story of the day. It was like the Knicks aren't like shooting the ball terribly. They were shooting the ball over 40% from the field. It was just like on the other side, Indiana could not miss. So a big win for them. I'm glad to see them go through. I like Tyrese Halliburton. I think he's a good player. Finished yesterday with 26 points. And I think they've got some fun pieces off the bench. I think Siakam's good. I like Siakam a lot. Andrew Nimrod, I loved him in college. And then off the bench, you got TJ McConnell. You've got Ben Shepherd, which has been kind of a fun story to watch. A guy from Belmont, and then gets a role with the Pacers and is playing it really well. So I like this Pacers team, and I hope they can be competitive with Boston because I would like to see Boston get challenged before they get to the NBA Finals. I think they've been able to make it look fairly easy for the most part. there will be that. It seems like both series there's been that one scare where they lose one game. I remember last week we were talking to Keith Smith, and Keith Smith, covers the Celtics for a while. Grew up a Celtics fan, and so he knows a lot about the Celtics. And we kind of asked him like, "What have you made of this playoff so far for the Celtics?" And he was like, "Yeah, I think everyone was losing their mind off of one loss, but like." At the end of the day, it's a 7-game series. And so, like, they've really... If one loss is going to be the most you're tested, then, you're either a really good team or you just haven't been tested very well. And, you won't probably be able to see that until you get to the finals or depending on what happens here. So I hope they're tested a little bit in this round if they do make it through this round and get to the finals because, on the other side, you've got maybe teams that aren't better than them, but you have teams that are having to fight for their lives in game sevens and coming back from big deficits and winning games, finding ways to win games. And so, there's a different type of level of competition there, I think, in terms of like just finding ways to win, where Boston's made it kind of look easy for the most part. So, I don't know. It should be fun. We'll get game 1 tomorrow between Boston and the Pacers tomorrow night. So, quick turnaround for Indiana. That's kind of the other thing on the West, since both these games went, really deep. A little more time for those teams to turn around. It's not like the Pacers, where they played yesterday. Now they have to turn around and play tomorrow night against the Celtics team that is going to be really, really well rested. That game tomorrow night at 7 p.m. on ESPN. And right now, Boston a 9.5-point favorite in game 1. Total sitting around 221.5. So who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens with that game tomorrow night. And I'm sure tomorrow afternoon, at some point, we'll make our picks for that round and who comes out of it to represent the East in the NBA Finals. But let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, it was a busy weekend for Tiger Athletics. Football gets a couple commitments. Baseball ends their season. Basketball, we all turn our attention to see what happens with David Jones now. So let's get to a break. When we come back, we're talking Tigers. Stick with us. You're listening to Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
When you think about insurance and you want great value without sacrificing great service, I want you to think one place: the Eflin Insurance and the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his group of professionals will access 10 leading companies to find the right home and auto program that fits your budget and your absolute needs. The Eflin Insurance team, the number 386-GER, 386-4777.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
One of the key things that separates Genesis Diamonds from other jewelry stores is nobody's paid on commission. Vice President Ina Avraham says Genesis Diamond experts are never incentivized to get you to spend more or to buy something that's not in your budget.
Doesn't matter how much you spend. If you spend $500 or $50,000, their main focus is finding the perfect engagement ring or piece of jewelry with no pressure or sales tactics.
So when you walk into Genesis Diamonds, you can relax, take your time, get the education you deserve, serve and make a decision that's best for you, not the salesperson.
They can trust us. It's a huge, huge difference when you know that that person is just going to focus on what I want, what I am looking for, not what they want to sell.
No pressure, no risk, no pricing games, no nonsense. At Genesis, it's about making you happy.
It's for life. It's a customer for life. It's a relationship for life.
Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes at Poplar and Perkins Extended.
I am Ina Abraham, and my accent is always on value.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
So I mentioned it earlier, but it was a busy weekend for Memphis athletics, and I learned a little bit more during the break. Penny Hardaway was on a podcast. We'll talk about that in a second if we have time. But Tiger football, they get 2 commitments over the weekend. I want to touch on both of them, certainly during the show today. Friday, they pick up a commitment in the afternoon from the transfer portal. Houston Christian linebacker Rodney Dansby commits to Memphis. He recorded 352 tackles in 3 seasons at Houston Christian. He was a first-team All-Southland Conference member. So I think good pickup there. Obviously, an older guy that can come in and has experience, has plenty of years experience playing college football, and has certainly made an impact at the FCS level. I think you look around and Memphis has done this before and have gotten really good results out of it. Kind of finding these guys at lower FBS schools or FCS schools and bringing those stars of those teams in, and they end up playing a really good role and making an impact for this team. So I like that pickup for the Tigers for sure. Bringing in a veteran player that can help out and certainly, if nothing else, give you depth at that linebacker position. But I think the big one that a lot of people are talking about was over the weekend the commitment from a local edge, DJ Allen, a defensive end, edge rusher, whatever you want to call him. DJ Allen, he committed to Memphis over the weekend. In an interesting case, DJ Allen just got done with his high school season in the fall, October, November, whenever Germantown high school season ended. That was his final year. And so I think a lot of people thought he would, just be like a freshman. And he is going to be a freshman, but this is a guy that went up to Purdue and participated in spring practice this year. And then I guess when spring practice was done, said, hey, this place isn't really for me, and decided to come back to Memphis. He was originally committed to UCF, then flipped that commitment to Purdue, and now will be a Tiger, 3-star guy over at 247. And so I think being able, I've said it so many times, and you look at last year's class here locally of high school guys in this area, there's some really good players and a lot of guys that are going. I remember looking at during the high school football season, you've got DJ Allen going to Purdue, and you've got other guys going to Mississippi State or Tennessee, or I think there was a Duke player, someone going to Duke. In that class as well. There was a quarterback for Collierville. He's going to Missouri. So, I mean, you've got some really good local talent here. I know we talk so much, it feels like, about the local talent here in Memphis when it comes to basketball. But there's so much local talent when it comes to football as well. And so I think if you can see Memphis start having that success when it comes to these local prospects and keeping them at Memphis and instead of them going over to Tennessee or to anywhere else. I think it'd certainly be easier keeping a guy here than maybe somewhere like Purdue. I understand they're a Power 5 program, but what I mean is, like, I think people would be more interested in hearing Memphis than X school that's not in the state of Tennessee than they would of, like, the University of Tennessee. The University of Tennessee is so big, and I think carries that weight when it comes to being in this state. There's plenty of Tennessee fans here. So, I love this pickup for them. I love that they're able to keep somebody home. I think with what NIL's doing at the University of Memphis, what they've got with FedEx, I think that's also a good indication, maybe being able to keep some local products here. So I was really excited to hear that DJ Allen was going to return to Memphis after a quick stint at Purdue. He should be a guy to keep your eye on in the future, and hopefully a guy that Memphis can keep around, because this, there's always those guys that start off as a freshman at Memphis and play well, and then, before you know it, they're entering the transfer portal and ending up somewhere else. So I thought it was big.
And that's the thing, too. I think you brought it up. It's the fact that you have the ability to say, hey, now we if you want to get compensated, we have that.
Sure.
If you want to start, and if you come to practice, and if you show us who you really are, you can start here. Yeah. And most importantly, we have a pathway to get into the college football championship.
That's the big one. Is look, you can go to, I don't want to use Tennessee. You can go to Purdue. Purdue's a perfect one. DJ Allen. We'll just use the schools for DJ Allen. You can go to Purdue and you can get a fine education, be part of a fine program. But
by the way, great engineering school.
Oh, absolutely.
I've been up there a couple
of
times.
Wow.
Yeah, my brother, he graduated from Purdue.
Oh, wow. So you know about Purdue.
Oh, yeah, boiler up, baby.
How about that? Okay.
That's where we at.
I love that.
That's where we at.
I'm learning something new. But yeah, I mean, you could go up to Purdue and get a fine education and be on a good program, but Purdue's going to be, now that they've expanded, what, 5th or 6th at best in the conference probably? In football, you're probably going to, no offense to you, but you're probably not going to be a starter as a freshman, maybe not even as a sophomore. So you can go up there and, go play in those big venues, but be on the bench. Or you could stay here and you could prove to us as a freshman or sophomore that you can play and you deserve some snaps. And also, the team we've assembled is going to be good enough to compete with any Group of 5 school. And we're going to have a great chance to make the college football playoffs. And so you'll be able to, as a freshman or as a sophomore, very early in your career, go and play in a big-time game against a big-time program. And I think you've seen with what Ryan Silverfield has done in this transfer portal, I think a lot of people like the sound of that and are coming and wanting to be a part of Ryan Silverfield's program. You mentioned it. You brought it up to me. Penny Hardaway, funny story before we get to a break. Penny Hardaway was on a podcast with Andre Iguodala. Was it Evan Turner? Was that the other host of the podcast? The Point Forwards, right? Is that what the podcast is called? So he was on this podcast and was kind of asked about, obviously you started your career with Shaq, but then Shaq goes on and joins the Lakers, and him and Kobe have all this success and win a bunch of titles, and how'd that make you feel? And, Penny, it's cool kind of seeing Penny like, I kind of looked at it like those were supposed to be mine. We were supposed to be doing that. And so really interesting. I love anytime Penny Hardaway is on a podcast or, especially when he first took the job in Memphis, he would go on ESPN and different stuff like that and just like telling those stories from when he was playing. There's the 30 for 30 now with Shaq and Penny. And it's kind of this, it was really good. And then, there was this fallout and we weren't on the same page and it wasn't great. But then, now we're good, and it was really good 30 for 30, but I love hearing those stories, and a really cool, I don't know if y'all saw it, but the pullover he was wearing was like a pink pullover, and it said 901, and it had the Tigers logo in the 901. I thought that was really cool. I don't know if those were on sale, but I might have to go buy one, because those were really cool. But I bring that up because Penny Hardaway's still super active, very busy when it comes to the transfer portal, bringing in players. I think he'll probably bring in a couple more, but all eyes now on David Jones after the NBA Combine. Didn't have his best performance during the NBA Combine, specifically what we all saw in those scrimmages. So definitely going to be curious to see what these next couple of weeks look like, as there's a lot of time for those guys to decide if they want to be in the NBA or go back to college. But I know Penny Hardaway has said he wants all of his guys, or at least 98% of his guys on campus by June 1st.
Right.
So hopefully, maybe we get an answer here in the next week or so.
And don't forget about the special player that could
That's right. That's what Dave said, is that there could be one that blows you away.
The one that blows us away,
So
man.
we'll see. Maybe that's David Jones. Who knows?
I mean, it might be. It's like, hey, like David Jones. Well, I mean,
I doubt it.
But listening to like all the scouts and everything, like you kind of have a sense that David Jones is not going to be highly regarded in his upcoming draft.
It's a good thing to bring up because I think our next guest, David Cobb, I think will have a good gauge, a good idea of maybe where David Jones sits when it comes to his decision to go pro or stay in college. So let's get to a break, and when we come back, we're talking some college football, we're talking some college basketball with David Cobb from CBS Sports.
Memorial Day weekend is coming, which means many folks will be grilling. And if you're firing up the grill this weekend or any weekend, there's one place to go for everything you need: Memphis Barbecue Supply. You need charcoal? They have 10 different brands of either lump or briquette charcoal. Pellets? How about over 2 tons in stock, 12 different flavors and blends. Looking for wood for smoking? Memphis Barbecue Supply has 9 different types of wood in chips, chunks, mini logs, and logs. You can even mix and match your wood from their bins of loose chunks. Whatever it is that you're grilling, steaks, ribs, burgers, pork butts, you name it, they have over 378 different rubs, sauces, injections, and raw spices to make sure your food tastes great. If you have any questions, they have award-winning pitmasters on staff that can help ensure that your cook will be the best ever. Memphis Barbecue Supply, 7041 Stage Road, or online, mbbqsupply.com.
I've got Jason, the main man marshal, here, and he's ready to start something big at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike. What's up, Jace?
Randy, I've got 42 MPG on the highway on the all-new 2024 Volkswagen Jetta SE for only $249 a month. Or take your pick from the 2024 Tiguan S front-wheel drive or 2024 Taos SE. We Gossett at $279.28 a month.
That's a 2024 Volkswagen Jetta SE, $249 a month. Or take your pick from 2024 Tiguan S or 2024 Taos SE, $279.28 a month.
And Randy, you know the deal. Make me an offer, because no reasonable offer will be refused.
Ask for Jason, the main man marshal, at Gossett Volkswagen, 1875 Covington Pike. Online, GossettVWMemphis.com.
Where we're charging for it and charging less every day.
All 36 monthly, 7,500 miles per year. Taos RMO 51756, MSRP 26063. Tiguan RM 103.910, MSRP 31363. Jetta RMO 48802, MSRP 25506. Cross Sport RC 236449, MSRP 38981. Includes $3,000 rebate. Cannot be combined with special APR. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes pack final license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid at the end of the month. With approved credit dealer stock only.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
It's silly season in the life of your roof. I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. The weather can be unpredictable, and I'm ready to get more life out of your roof with our award-winning Owens Corning repair team. We're the repair guys the other repair guys call when they can't find the problem. Leaks become black mold when ignored. That's why when you call me, I start my inspection in the attic. Is it time for a beautiful new roof? 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you an estimate right over the phone. The best warranty in the business, including a warranty against ice dams. The only roofer in Memphis to offer a warranty against water intrusion due to snow buildup. Ask about military and first responder discounts. 901-867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Rick's Powder Coating, for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
As the seasons change, so does the need for reliable home comfort. It's time to turn to the experts with Choates, where your family's comfort is our top priority. Right now, Choates is making it easier than ever to upgrade your home's climate control with our exceptional Carrier systems. There's never been a better time to enhance your comfort. Select from incredibly low monthly payments, 36 months no interest financing, or choose our $1,650 Cool Cash rebate instead and lower the upfront cost on select Carrier systems. It's not just savings, it's cool cash in your pocket. Low monthly payments, no interest financing, or cool cash rebates? Whatever you choose, you're choosing quality, reliability, and the trusted service of Choates. Call us today at 347-8086 or visit ChoatesHVAC.com to learn more about these incredible savings. But hurry, these deals are as fleeting as a cool breeze on a hot day. Choates, let our family serve your family.
Extraordinary events come once in a blue moon, and right now, even the most extravagant luxuries are well within reach. The one and only May sale is back at Sissy's Log Cabin, and you can save up to 50% on nearly everything in the store. This is your chance to get the service, selection, and experience that makes you feel like family at the best prices of the year, guaranteed. Don't miss the one and only May sale at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Joining Brian and Brett now on Sports Time is National College Football writer for CBS Sports, Memphis native and Tennessee grad, who you can find on Twitter X at David W. Cobb. It's David Cobb.
David Cobb joins us now from CBS Sports, talk college football and college basketball. David, thanks so much for joining us. Plenty to get into today, but I want to start off with college football. And you had a story out on CBS Sports last week, and you made it very clear in your tweet about the story that you wrote the words for this, but this was not entirely your story. This was from a panel of your colleagues at CBS Sports, but ranked every group of five coach heading into the 2024 season. Number one, Jamie Chadwell from Liberty. Number two, John Summerall for Tulane. All the way down at number 13, Ryan Silverfield. He sandwiched in between Jacksonville State's Rich Rodriguez and UNLV's Barry Odom. Do you think that's a fair ranking for Ryan Silverfield? What were some of the things you heard? What were some of the things you thought about when ranking Ryan Silverfield at number 13?
All right, so let me flip the question back on you guys real quick with Ryan, because I'm curious to know what their perception or the reaction is to him at 13 among people in the market who have followed his career closely and followed Memphis closely since before he was the coach. Brett, Brett's not there today.
Brett's
Brian,
not here,
what
me
do you
and Zach.
What do you think about Ryan Silverfield at 13?
I don't think it's like terrible or anything. Like, I think it's a fine thing. I think here, even locally here, Zach, help me out. What was it? Even last year at times, there were people like Ryan Silverfield's not doing a good enough job here.
Yeah, it was like a 6 month. It was kind of strange.
Yeah,
it was like for
it was
6
weird.
months they were just like, "Oh, we need to get Silverfield out of here. We need a different coach."
Nobodies, and so like I don't mind him being where he is. And then when you look at the coaches around him, like Rich Rodriguez, a very good coach, is one spot behind him. Barry Odom, I think, has done a great job at UNLV. So I don't dislike it at all. I think it's pretty fair.
I thought it was a favorable ranking, and so I had Silverfield at 19.
Okay.
In my ballot, and whenever I do these things that involve Memphis or involve Tennessee or involve a program that I watch closely or that I have a connection to, like I really do try to remove whatever bias or. I've never been like a diehard Memphis fan, but I follow the program closely. And when you do that, like it can influence the way you think about these things. And so when I'm making my ballot, I'm trying to be real careful not to like be influenced or biased by the fact that I have a lot of ties, to Memphis. And so I tried really hard to be fair in my ballot. I put him at 19. And then my colleagues on the consensus must have had him higher. I mean, I'm assuming the fact that he's 13, there were probably some people who voted on this who had him in the top 10 of the group of five coaches. And I think that's a large bit of recency bias because he's coming off of a 10-win season. And so when you look at that and you look at the other group of five coaches around the country, I mean, it's hard to win 10 games at a Group of 5 school. It doesn't happen very often. And a lot of times, the coaches who do win 10 games at a G5, they're gone the next year to a Big 12 job or an ACC job or whatever it is. So, yeah, I mean, I think 13 is a really favorable spot for Ryan Silverfield. And I think there's room for him to rise even higher because, Memphis is expected to do some really good things this year. And if he stacks consecutive 10-win seasons, then I think next year he's a lock to be in the top 10 of this Group of 5 coach ranking.
Yeah. Alex Golish only 2 spots behind Ryan Silverfield at number 15, USF's head coach, who obviously before then, a really young guy, before then was at Tennessee as an assistant. What do you think about that spot for him? What do you think about his team going in next year? I know there's a lot of excitement after what they did this season, kind of a different style. He wants to kind of run similar to Tennessee. He wants to get up and down the field, a lot of firepower offensively. They were 4-29 3 seasons before he got there. Last year they go to a bowl game. They win it. A lot of momentum going into this season. What do you think about him and USF going into this year?
Yeah, I'm really, really high on Alex Golesh at South Florida. To go in there, take over a 1-win team, and take them to a bowl immediately, that's impressive. Like, to me, that is proof that your scheme and your concept work. And South Florida is a place that has had success in football under more than one coach in the last 15 years. And so you look at what they did under Willie Taggart and Charlie Strong, and then it just fell off a cliff under Jeff Scott, who is just the latest failed branch of the Dabo Sweeney tree. But, man, they nailed the hire with Alex Golesh. And, they're coming off of a bowl appearance. I know Memphis has to go down there this year, so that's going to be tough because South Florida is a team that, they took Alabama down to the wire a year ago. And that was one of their first games under Alex Golesh. And so now you go into year 2 with a lot back. I think South Florida is going to be a sneaky contender in the AAC, and I actually had Golesh in my top 10 on my ballot.
Wow, how about that? So you're very high on Golesh. I like that. I think he's a really good coach, and I think he's going to have a good team this year. I'm curious, another AAC team, John Summerall, number 2 in these coaching rankings, but Tulane, really good team these last couple of years. Obviously, got to replace head coach, replace head coach, but also replace starting quarterback, a lot of other positions on that team. But it feels like John Summerall coming in, what he did at Troy was really impressive. Now taking over at Tulane, that's already kind of built something these last handful of years. I thought they did a good job in the transfer portal this offseason. But when you hear people talk about teams to look out for in the Group of 5, teams that could contend for that college football playoff spot, you never hear anybody talk about Tulane. What do you think they do in John Summerall's first year?
Yeah, to me, a lot of it comes down to what they're going to get from Ty Thompson, the transfer quarterback who's coming in from Oregon after he was a super, super highly touted prospect. And you just don't really know. Mario Williams, another guy coming in who's proven power conference skill player. So they have a chance to pop offensively. And it's going to be pretty important that they do because John Summerall is a defensive coach, but they don't have a ton back to work with defensively, and so he's going to be putting that thing together on the fly. I'm a little lukewarm on Tulane as a contender to be the Group of 5 team that makes the playoff, just because of all the turnover. Sure. And you lose Willie Fritz. John Summerall is a proven coach, but there's other good teams in the AAC as well. And then Ty Thompson just doesn't have a ton of game reps at quarterback, and so I don't think it's totally inconceivable that he's in a battle to win that job, from Kai Horton, who played a little bit when Michael Pratt was hurt last year. So, I think Tulane's still going to be good. I'm not ready to go there immediately in year 1 to say oh yeah, Tulane, they're going to be in the college football playoff. Right. It's the first year under a new coach. Sure. With a ton of lost production, I have a hard time seeing the pieces all coming together that perfectly right out of the gate.
You mentioned Dabo Swinney a couple minutes ago, and he made headlines last week during the ACC meetings. The first one, he was on ACC PM on ACC Network, and they brought up the fact, which is crazy to even think about, that Clemson is the only non-service academy to take 0 transfers in 2024. And Dabo Swinney's response was, quote, "Every player is technically a transfer. We just signed a whole class of guys transferring from high school." Before that, he kind of talked about, well, we tried to go get transfers, but we have to like them, they have to like us, and then went into that about signing a whole class of transfers from high school. And then the next day he added on, he was on Sirius XM and was talking about transfers again and said, quote, "I mean, it's really pretty simple. Most of the guys in the portal aren't good enough for us. That's just the reality of it." It seems like Dabo Swinney over these last couple of years, since the transfer portal became what it is now, has kind of just dug his feet in and said, "You're not going to make me change. I'm standing right here." And I just feel like this is not going to work out for him, but it seems like every time he can get out of it, every year that he can go out and get transfers or talk to somebody and say something different than what he's been doing, he does the exact same thing. Do you think this is all going to come back and bite Dabo, or do you think Dabo can continue to have success at Clemson without being in the transfer portal like we see some of these other programs doing?
I mean, I actually think the worst part of this Dabo strategy is the dumb things that he says about the strategy.
Yeah.
More so than the strategy
Well,
itself.
that's what I said. He's like the gift that keeps on giving. It's like everything he says is just great.
I mean, all he does is draw attention to what is a very questionable approach with some of the things he says, some of the ways that he phrases his strategy. I mean, you think back to the quote about name, image, and likeness, and he said, well, we're all in God's name, image, and likeness. Things like that, where it's like, okay, Dabo, like, dude. I mean, anyway, like on the one hand, I do respect Dabo and the way he's built his program and what he believes in, and like his faith and like all those things.
Absolutely.
Like I respect those things a lot. And I think there a lot of times in sports, there is in life in general, in business, in whatever, there is some courage. It takes courage to zig when everybody else is zagging. Mm-hmm. And that's what they're doing here. They're planting their feet, you say digging in their heels against the transfer stuff. And, on the one hand, I respect it, but then when the way he explains it, he needs to do a better job of explaining it, of backing it up, of really articulating how or why this is going to work for them, instead of just, falling back on these like cheesy tropes to try to explain, why he's not taking transfers. Because, the idea that there aren't transfers good enough for Clemson is absurd, because, I mean, Clemson's a program that, they've recruited well, but it's a program, since they haven't taken transfers, they've had to rely on some unheralded 3-star, sort of under-the-radar type of players who wouldn't be playing for other power conference programs. And they're playing at Clemson because there's spots available on the depth chart because there's no transfers coming in. And so, I mean, I don't think there's any denying the fact that program has slipped the last couple of years. It's not at the level that it was. And it could be if he was a little bit less stubborn. And, we'll see. Maybe in the long run he can get it back on track. I think the 12-team playoff gives him a chance to sort of stake his claim to national success, because if you make the 12-team playoff, you say, well, we're still making the CSP every year, right? So anyway, I on the one hand, I respect him for sticking to his principles, but I don't think it's going to work, and I think the way that he explains it only makes this program more of a laughing stock. And so I think in the long run, he's ultimately hurting himself with the way he's approaching this.
Yeah.
David, I know we're kind of still in a wait and a see approach on Kalen DeBoer out in Alabama, but it's starting to feel like with the little bit of a changing of the guard. Obviously, Harbaugh moving from Michigan to the Chargers, Saban retiring. Like, do you feel like there's even more parity in college football now than it was before NIL became a factor?
Actually, yeah, I do kind of feel that. I mean, to a certain extent, it feels to me like Georgia and Ohio State are going into this season hovering well above the rest of the field because Alabama's losing Nick Saban and Michigan is losing Jim Harbaugh and so much of its roster. And so then, with realignment, questions about whether Oregon's going to be ready to challenge those guys, and Florida State loses Jordan Travis, and so on. So to me, it feels like going into this season, you got Georgia and Ohio State, and then kind of everybody else. But that everybody else group, is so large. I mean, if the playoff was still at 14 this year, I think there would realistically be 12 or 15 who feel like they have a chance to make it. And to a certain extent, I think NIL has, and the transfer portal has evened out the talent disparities between some of the top programs. Where that stops is once you get down to the Group of 5 level, and I think it's kind of hurt the Group of 5 teams and their ability to retain talent and to compete year over year. So, it's kind of cut both ways. I think at the top it's leveled out some of the talent, but it doesn't go all the way down to the have-nots. I think the have-nots have been maybe hurt a little bit more by it, than maybe we'd hoped.
Yeah. Talking to David Cobb. He joins us every Monday, talk college football and college basketball. Go read his work at cbssports.com. I got to talk some basketball with you before we let you go, David, and I got to start with maybe the wildest news from last week. Doug Gottlieb, who hosts an afternoon radio show on Fox Sports, accepts the Green Bay job to be their head coach, but right after taking it, said that the plan is to still do his daily radio show, which just seems like a lot to do. What did you make of that? I know he was in the running last year, wanted the job last year. They give it to Sundance Wicks. He ends up a good season for him, and then he goes out to Wyoming. But what do you make of Doug Gottlieb taking the head coaching job at Green Bay?
Brian, I could see you moonlighting as like the Christian Brothers University basketball coach.
Not?
Like,
I'm available.
Yeah. Once you get off at Sports 56, you just hop on Bill Morris Parkway, and then you get over there to Midtown. No problem. This to me kind of feels like basketball, like Green Bay's attempt to replicate the Deion Sanders buzz.
Yeah.
like a poor man's attempt to get that sort of attention, because that's been a downtrodden program, an irrelevant program for a long time. Never really had any real pop to speak of. They took a step forward this past year, but Doug Gottlieb, man, I don't know. I'm skeptical that it works out but it'll draw attention.
Sure.
In what other universe are we discussing Green Bay basketball in May?
Great point.
So that's the effect that Doug Gottlieb has. Look, Deion Sanders has a documentary crew at every event. He's still doing regular hits on Barstool and Pat McAfee or whatever whatever he's doing, and he makes it work. And so I think in this day and age, like you can do both. I don't know that you can do both well, but you can do both, and he can use his radio show to market his program.
Absolutely.
I think that's the beauty of it for Green Bay, is that they just hired a free marketing vehicle for their university, for their basketball program. Is he going to get them to the NCAA tournament? I'll believe that when I see it. But hey, at least people are going to be somewhat attentive to Green Bay basketball for the first time ever, and I think that's really what it's about.
If you really want to know what Doug Gottlieb's thoughts are going after the game when he's not giving his PG coach speak, just listen to the show.
Next day, just tune in. He'll probably give you all. That's what I'm almost worried about. Not worried about, because I would love it. I love mid-major basketball, but you tune into the Doug Gottlieb show on a random Wednesday in January, and he's going on a rant about their game the night before against whoever. You know, he played Milwaukee the night before, and he's freaking out about some call the ref made.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're going to get a lot more Horizon League basketball talk on national radio.
Which I'm here for. I love it.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting. I mean, it's been a long time, I think, since he's kind of been in the college game. I don't know. It's a weird hire, but hey, look, I mean, it seems to be like in vogue to go unconventional. I mean, Trent Dilfer had never coached in college football whatsoever.
That's
like,
true.
and now he's going to be, going into year 2 as the college football coach. And yeah, I mean, it's bizarre. I don't know that I would have gone that direction, but yeah, I'll be fascinated to see how it works out. And yeah, more power to him. I mean, hey, those of us in the media have many talents. So I'm curious to see how Doug Gottlieb does.
That's right. Last thing for you, David. I'm sure you were watching the NBA Combine last week. A lot of talk from it. But here, we all have our eyes on David Jones and what his decision is. I think a lot of people just saw the scrimmages on television on ESPN. He didn't have really good showings in his 2 days of scrimmages. What do you feel like right now after watching the Combine, seeing the Combine results? What do you think the chances are he returns to Memphis and finishes out his career with Penny Hardaway?
I mean, if Penny was saying 70-30 before the Combine, he's got to feel more like 80-20 now, right? I mean,
feels like
because like you, I saw the box scores from those scrimmages at the Combine, and there wasn't a whole lot there to really make you believe that David Jones has evolved into a first-round pick. No. And given what I assume he could make at Memphis this next year, it seems like that would be the better option for him. So I'd feel pretty good right now if I were a Memphis basketball fan about getting David Jones back. I mean, all it takes is one pro franchise to guarantee him maybe a 2-way or something. I don't know if that's what his threshold is. But man, in this day and time, I mean, a nice NIL payday that can compete pretty favorably, even with a 2-way contract. So
yeah,
I would feel good about it. And then if you get him back, I think you got to feel pretty dang good about the Memphis basketball roster. I mean, let's pump the brakes on like the high level March expectations, but like just in terms of it being May, and you think about how late the roster came together last year. I think they're on a better timeline this year, even with this David Jones decision looming overhead. To feel like they've got the pieces they need to have a good team.
Yeah, I think Penny Hardaway said last week at a kind of team, what do they call it, like the team tour thing, that he wants to have like 98% of his team on campus by June 1st, which would be entirely different than what we know of off seasons under Penny Hardaway. So I think that would be a great start for him and next year's team. But David, as always, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next week.
All right. Appreciate it, fellas.
Thanks, David. David Cobb joining us from CBS Sports, talk some college football and college basketball. And we could have talked to him for the rest of the show. I mean, there's just so much about. I mean, we're in that weird, and I always talk about it. And I don't know how many people really care about it, but we're like in that weird time where it's like a lot's going on off-season wise in both college football and college basketball. And like for people like David who has to write about both of them, like probably makes it a little difficult. Probably not as hard as like those couple months in November and December where you're like actually writing about games for both college football and college basketball, but almost maybe harder because you do have to kind of go and search for some of the off-season things that you don't have to like really search for when it comes to just scores and like what's happening in games.
Yeah, so. but then again, some of the stuff can come to you.
Very true.
And we've seen time and time again how stories just fall in our laps.
No, absolutely. So, no, but I'm definitely, it's a good time. So much out there. Go check out David Cobb, all of his work. Go give him a follow on Twitter as well at David W. Cobb. Well, let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk some baseball. Already one result in the book, part of a doubleheader. We'll talk about everything that happened over the weekend. St. Louis Cardinals, they have a new City Connect jersey. So we'll talk about all of that next on Sportstime.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11, here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Are you looking for a better way to sell farm, construction, or fleet equipment? Purple Wave Auction takes the hassle out of selling heavy equipment. Our experienced auction professionals make the entire process easy, and we'll market each asset not just to our enormous equipment buying community, but specifically to the right bidders who are eager to purchase your specific assets. We'll handle the paperwork and payments so you can get back to running your business. Join the growing list of happy sellers who don't just sell but succeed with Purple Wave Auction. Straight, simple, sold.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous. A legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
It's time to have a good time at Mugshots Grill and Bar in Olive Branch and Carterville. Come by for half-price happy hour 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with domestic drafts and $3 snacks. Then try one of Mugshots' 19 specialty burgers, including the Mugshot Burger. Finish it in 12 minutes and it's free. Plus, you get a free shirt. Mugshots in Olive Branch, 6400 Goodman Road, and Mugshots in Carterville, 656 West Poplar. So cheers to great food, good drinks, and fun company at Mugshots Grill and Bar, where you're always having a good time.
I've got Rockin' Ronnie Smith on the line at Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat on the Pike. And Ronnie, it's the season for the Memorial Day sales event.
It's time to rock, Randy, in your new 2023 Jeep Renegade Latitude 4-wheel drive. $25,889 or $389 a month. That's $5,206 off MSRP. How about a 2024 Dodge Hornet GT all-wheel drive, packing up to 268 horsepower, plus 295 pound-feet of torque, $32,320, plus power up in our 2023 Dodge Charger SXT 4-door, $28,072. That's over $9,000 off MSRP.
So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike, or online anytime, GossettMotorcars.net.
All 75 months at 8.99 APR, 3,500 down, Renegade Triple P 56,520, MSRP 31,095, Charger PH 636,171, MSRP 37,120, Hornet R3A 152,64, MSRP 34,820. Price includes all rebates and incentives and excludes PF 695. Payments includes PF 695. All exclude tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Dealer stock only.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Thinking about buying a lab-grown diamond versus a natural diamond? Before you make a decision, get the facts at Genesis Diamonds.
We have professionals, certified diamond graders, people who have been in the industry for 20, 30 plus years who are able to educate.
Nadia Ganizer at Genesis says Genesis carries both natural and lab-grown diamonds and can give you all the pros and cons.
So if they have a question about lab-grown diamond value, we will explain that. We will explain the difference in price. We will explain what to expect in the future.
Nadia says beware. A lot of jewelry stores are using the popularity of lab-grown diamonds to outrageously mark up these stones.
Some retailers charge unreasonable amounts for lab-grown diamonds, and I think that they do take advantage of customers.
But at Genesis, their low-price margin philosophy is the same for natural and lab-grown.
Our price will still be the lowest.
Get the education and value you deserve every day on every diamond at Genesis Diamonds at Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. I'm still trying to wrap up this crash. 55 northbound right here at 240. It's headed back all the way to Brooks, Elvis Presley just a few minutes ago on 55 going northbound. Again, a lot of rubbernecking associated with this crash. Traffic's picking up even more coming down 240 eastbound from Mill Branch out to 385. Yes, it's slow over here. This is not going to surprise you. 240 east over here at Poplar as it starts to crank up a little bit more volume on 40 east at Sycamore View Road, headed on out to Germantown Parkway. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64, your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Good afternoon. Still trying to wrap up this crash 55 northbound.
Welcome back in Sports Time. Bryant, Zach, Lee Aldwin, we're all with you. No Brett today, but he'll be back tomorrow. We're sitting in our family leisure studios where family and fun come together. In Major League Baseball, we got to talk some baseball after I thought a fun weekend of baseball, but we've already had one game final today. I think one's still going with the White Sox and the Blue Jays, as we've got bottom of the 8th inning right now, and Toronto all over the White Sox 9-3. Thought this was going to be a game where maybe the White Sox could pull a win out. I just am not sold on this Blue Jays team at all, and I think a lot of other people are, even though they're 5 games under 500. Not that I think looking at the record should mean everything. I'm just not sold on this Blue Jays team yet. Certainly not sold on the White Sox, but Fide's been pretty good this year so far in his start. So I thought maybe this could be a game they could steal. Unfortunately, it does not look like that's going to be the case. Padres earlier today get a 6-5 win over the Braves. 4 runs in the 8th inning for the Padres to come back and win that one. It was all Braves early. San Diego ends up coming back, winning that one. That's part of a doubleheader today, as they'll start that next game at 5:20-ish. We'll get that second game in. Chris Sale on the bump for the Braves. I think they are heavy favorites, and I do expect them to win that game. And I might even put some money on them to win that game, maybe even on the run line, because they looked good in that first game. Bats were hot. Guys were hitting, but just down the stretch, that big 8th inning, 4 runs, like I said, for the Padres, able to win it for them. We did have a City Connect jersey for the Cardinals released. Lee Aldwin, did you see the City Connect jerseys that were released earlier this morning for the St. Louis Cardinals?
No, I didn't, but I'm about to look at it right now.
I'll be honest, I know when it comes to City Connect jerseys, some people really like them, some people don't. I like this one. I like these jerseys for the Cardinals. I think there's some City Connect jerseys that I just can't stand. I'm trying to think like one that comes to mind. Let's see. I don't like. I can't really think of one that I don't like the Cubs. Cubs have a terrible City Connect jersey. The Wrigleyville jerseys, they're hideous. They're awful. I don't mind these ones for the Cardinals. Say the Lou on the front, regular traditional bat with the 2 birds on it. And then there's like these like very like almost like faded pinstripes in there. And then on the side, I think it says like STL or the Lou or something like that. And it has the arch. I kind of like them. I kind of dig them. In terms of like City Connect jerseys, I feel good about them. I think they're good looking jerseys. So we got to get Brett's opinion on them, because this has been something that like we've been waiting until like the beginning of the season when it was announced that the Cardinals were going to have a City Connect jersey. We were like, all right, I wonder what Brett's going to think about these City Connect jerseys. And Brett was like, I wonder what I'm going to think about these City Connect jerseys. So we'll have to see tomorrow what he thinks. But final reaction, what do you think? Yes, yay, nay, rate him on a scale of 10? I mean, what are we thinking?
I'd say from 1 to 10, I'd give it a 7, because I'm a big fan of jerseys that have one color, and aside from the yellow bat, it's all red, and I like I said, solid colors. So from 1 to 10, I'll give it a 7.5.
I like it. But I as I start to think about it, I think I like more of the City Connect jerseys than I dislike. I like the Cardinals. I like the Rockies. Rockies have a really good one. I don't hate the Dodgers City Connect jerseys. I don't think they're bad. I like the Mariners City Connect jersey. I don't like the pants they wear with it. I wish they would wear like blue pants with it maybe. I don't like the blue jersey with the black pants. I really like Cincinnati's. That's the one that I always get heat about, is people hate Cincinnati's. I love Cincinnati. I think it's a really good looking jersey. Super modern, but like I think good looking jersey.
I like, Brian, not to cut you off anything, I like these Southside Chicago White Sox, man. The all black with the white lettering, that looks very good.
My brother has a Southsiders jersey. That one's a good looking one. Tampa Bay just dropped theirs. They've been wearing them the last couple of weeks. I like theirs a lot. I think that's a good looking jersey. The Astros one's fine. They have like the Space City jerseys. obviously with like NASA being in Houston, those are cool. So I think I do like more of the City Connect jerseys than I dislike, which is a little surprising, but that's cool. So I like St. Louis City Connect jerseys. They'll go tonight against the Orioles. And Sonny Gray on the mound, Dean Kramer on the mound for the Orioles. So that should be an interesting game. Think the Orioles probably win. Think the Orioles probably roll this series. But it wasn't a bad weekend for the Cardinals. I thought they played fine. Good weekend for them. For your Dodgers, it was a fine weekend against the Reds. Good weekend. I saw Shohei Ohtani had his first walk-off as a Dodger, so that's always cool whenever you can get something like that. But I don't know. I think I just have really enjoyed the Major League Baseball season this year, and I'm looking forward to some of these games tonight. I think Brewers-Marlins should be a fun game. I've really enjoyed watching the Brewers play this year. So it should be a good night of baseball. Not a full slate today, but a lot of teams going, and then we'll get back to a full slate tomorrow. I mentioned it earlier. We were talking Tigers. I wanted to talk Tiger baseball for a second. Their season wrapped up over the weekend. We got a couple minutes here, and we can talk about it. I don't think the season that they wanted, certainly. They finished 10th out of 10 teams in their conference. They don't get an invite to the conference tournament, which most conference tournaments start tomorrow. We'll have coverage of Ole Miss. They take on Mississippi State in the first round. I believe pregame for that will start around 7:30 tomorrow night, as they're hoping to go around 8. But when it comes to conference tournaments, you can really never predict when those games are going to start or end. But for the Tigers, they finished 10th out of 10, don't get an invite to their conference tournament. But over the weekend, they have a series against Wichita State, their last series. I think if they had won like 2 out of the 3 or maybe even swept, I know certainly if they swept, but maybe if they won 2 out of the 3, they could have had a chance to get into the conference tournament. They only went 1 of 3, and it was the game Saturday. They didn't play yesterday. It was the game Saturday against Wichita State where they won, I think, 11-10, I think was that final score. But Thursday night, they lost 14-1. So a blowout loss. They come back Friday night and lose 12-10 in 13 innings. A game that almost went 6 hours. I know our friend Greg Gaston, we'll have to ask him about that game on Thursday when we talked to him on Thursday, because holy cow, almost a 6-hour game, 13 innings. Crazy, went all into the night. It was while I was watching on ESPN Plus, watching his broadcast of it. But after the game Thursday, when they lost 14-1, head coach Matt Reiser was talking to the media, and that's something that's fairly new. I think last year they did it a little bit with Carrick Jackson, which I love Carrick Jackson. But they would have like the on-field interviews afterwards where they'd like ask him like 2 questions on the field. They posted social media. And now with Matt Reiser, they're having like full-on press conferences, which I think is really cool. I love that. I love hearing coaches talk after games, and so I do love that we get that with Matt Reiser. But after that game Thursday night where they lost 14-1, this is what Matt Reiser had to say about his team. And guys that have the ability to return, I will cut you at the exit meeting if you give up and quit. I'm going to make sure this culture is changed, and we will not quit. What we did tonight, halfway through that game, I will not live with. So, I mean, it sounds like it's going to be a big offseason for him, losing some good players. But this is going to be a big offseason for Matt Reiser to bring in his first full offseason, bring in more of his guys, more kind of the guys that he wants in his system, kind of his culture guys. And, we'll see. We'll see what next year's team looks like. I think before the season started, I think D1 Baseball projected Memphis to finish like 3rd or 4th in the conference. So certainly 10 is not what they wanted. But I'm excited for this offseason from Matt Reiser. Excited to see, what he can bring in next year, and hopefully things turn around. And next year around this time, we'll be talking about them going to the conference tournament and hopefully, trying to fight for a conference championship.
Yeah, I'm overall at 23-32. It's not the best end of the season. You did, like you said, there was a positive spin at the end with them finishing with the victory on Senior Day. However, Reiser is the guy that can get the job done. I like his passion. I like his feel for the game. I like his mentality, and that after that 14-1 debacle at the hands of Wichita State, it showed he's all business, man. He wants this team to be one. Even if you do lose and you come up on the wrong side of things, he doesn't want this team to have a mentality of giving up when things get tough, because he feels that he sees the potential. Sure. And I'm for that, and I'm a huge supporter of Riser. I think he'll have this team in the top half of the conference next year in baseball.
Yeah, I hope so. I think, like you said, I think there were some highlights and, things that I think were positive this season that you can build off of. Obviously, like you said, the just looking at the record at the end of the season was not good. It's not what you wanted for in conference or overall, but I do think there were some positive things out there, and I think that things that they can build on, and he certainly plays a different style, fun style baseball, trying to get guys on base, and you're just trying to move them around, and he steals a lot, double steals, different things. So I think it's a fun brand of baseball, but we'll just have to see what this offseason looks like and what next year looks like for him. I want to go back real quickly to those City Connect jerseys, because I'm seeing, I guess the media just got to the ballpark this afternoon, and the jerseys are available in the team shop. I would like somebody to guess, one of y'all to guess, how much one of those City Connect jerseys costs. So we've got the regular, we have a like the printed version, like kind of like the cheaper option, and we have the stitched authentic version. Alden, would you care to guess the price tag that these jerseys are going for at the team shop in St. Louis?
I'll go with $199.99.
Okay, so for which one, the authentic or the
authentic one?
So you think $200 for the authentic, for the more expensive option. How much do you think for the cheaper option?
$150.
Okay, so $150 for the cheap one, $200 for the expensive option. You would be $200 shy for the authentic jersey. $399 for the authentic stitched jersey.
You can't be serious.
At the team shop, $200 for the cheaper option, flat printed version with the patch logo, is how this one media member describes it. That's crazy. That's very expensive.
Absurd amount of money, but hey, if you got it, you have it. But,
I guess so.
But that's an absurd amount for a jersey. Well, yes, it looks unique, and it is unique, Brian. But is it worth $200 more than a regular jersey that you can get from the store?
Now, I'll be honest. I can't really talk because I buy hockey jerseys, hockey sweaters, for $300. So I unfortunately make those bad decisions, and then I will sit a week later and be like, why don't I have any money in my bank account? And I'll be like, oh, it's because I spent all of it on a hockey jersey.
Yeah, all those Kraken hats and sweaters, and I know you have some Kraken jerseys, don't you?
I do. I've two. I think two Kraken sweaters and 2 hats and a lot of shirts and hoodies. I love the Kraken. But, yeah, that's very expensive. I was going to buy one. I was really debating buying the Lou jersey. Not anymore. I can't afford that. That's very, very, very steep. But let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, it will be time for Big Number of the Day. Stick with us. You're listening to Sports Time.
FM.
Memorial Day weekend is coming, which means many folks will be grilling. And if you're firing up the grill this weekend or any weekend, there's one place to go for everything you need: Memphis Barbecue Supply. You need charcoal? They have 10 different brands of either lump or briquette charcoal. Pellets? How about over 2 tons in stock, 12 different flavors and blends. Looking for wood for smoking? Memphis Barbecue Supply has 9 different types of wood in chips, chunks, mini logs, and logs. You can even mix and match your wood from their bins of loose chunks. Whatever it is that you're grilling, steaks, ribs, burgers, pork butts, you name it, they have over 378 different rubs, sauces, injections, and raw spices to make sure your food tastes great. If you have any questions, they have award-winning pitmasters on staff that can help ensure that your cook will be the best ever. Memphis Barbecue Supply, 7041 Stage Road, or online, mbbqsupply.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Anticipation is building for Memphis football.
3, 2, 1, that's your winner!
With a cast of returning stars ready for the big stage.
Caught! Rock Taylor! Touchdown Tigers!
The momentum for Memphis football is on the rise.
Harrigan into the end zone. Tiger touchdown. He just wouldn't be denied.
It's time to pounce. So purchase your tickets today at GoTigersGo.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. In the process, started Wesley Financial Group to do one thing, help people get out of their timeshare nightmare. When you buy a timeshare, the timeshare company can raise your annual maintenance fees at will. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Want out of your timeshare? Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
I've got Jason, the main man Marshall, here, and he's ready to start something big at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike. What's up, Jace?
Randy, I've got 42 MPG on the highway on the all-new 2024 Volkswagen Jetta SE for only $249 a month. Or take your pick from the 2024 Tiguan S front-wheel drive or 2024 Taos SE. We Gossett at $279.28 a month.
That's a 2024 Volkswagen Jetta SE, $249 a month. Or take your pick from 2024 Tiguan S or 2024 Taos SE, $279.28 a month.
And Randy, you know the deal. Make me an offer because no reasonable offer will be refused.
Ask for Jason, the main man Marshall at Gossett Volkswagen, 1875 Covington Pike. Online, GossettVWMemphis.com.
Where we're charging for it and charging less every day.
All 36 monthly, 7,500 miles per year. Taos RMO 51756, MSRP 26063. Tiguan RM 103,910, MSRP 31363. Jetta RMO 48802, MSRP 25506. Cross Sport RC 236449, MSRP 38981. Includes $3,000 rebate. Cannot be provided with special APR. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand.
It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
My big number today comes from the NBA over the weekend. Talked about it a lot. I mean, a really busy weekend in the NBA is closing out a lot of these series, and this one comes from the Mavs in the OKC Thunder series. It is the number 3. Kind of a small number, but it works for this. Luka Doncic of the Dallas Mavericks is the first player in NBA history, to have 3 straight triple-doubles to close out a series. He was massive against OKC and really was huge. I mean, you look at some of those games, some of those closeout opportunity games, at the end of that series, it was really Kyrie kind of playing a decoy role, and he would kind of, run around and try to keep a defender or two off of Luka so that Luka could work. And Luka took advantage of it and was really, really big and just what he can do, and all these different elements of the game. Scoring, we know what he can do. Rebounding the ball, we're now seeing what he can do. And then, obviously, dishing the ball out, getting those assists. He's really, really good at that, too. And I go back every time we see this team, and I mentioned it earlier, Zach's brought it up, this kind of maybe new thinking of maybe you only need 2 stars to be a really dominant team. But also, I remember when this trade happened that got Kyrie to Dallas, and kind of the conclusion of it right when it happened was this isn't going to work out. There's no way that Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving are going to be able to work together. This is going to be a failure. This is a terrible decision by Dallas. What are they even thinking? Well, it seems like it's working pretty well. I mean, both guys look very happy with each other. They look like they're fine. That was the first thing I heard is, those guys aren't going to get along. Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, you think those 2 guys are going to get along? And it looks like they get along just fine. It looks like they're good together, and these 2 guys and those other players that have been stepping up, PJ Washington, Gafford's played a really good role. Derek Lively has been massive. It's been fun to watch this Dallas team.
Yep, I agree with you. My big number today, Brian.
Okay, you brought one today. I love it.
I did. I have one. 65.
Okay, 65.
The amount of points that Alec Burks and Dante DiVincenzo combined for on Sunday for the Knicks. They had a lot of injuries, including ultimately their superstar. Well, their version of a superstar, and Jalen Brunson. He I think fractured his hand at the end. But Dante DiVincenzo and Alex Burks, shout out to they get big participation trophies because they played very well. Alec Burks has always been a bucket on every team he's been on. Yeah. He's always produced even on some very mediocre to bad teams, but he came in big. Actually kept them in the game in the full quarter. Him and DiVincenzo's long-range bombs in which he's one of the best shooters in the NBA. I mean, Dante, when he's on, it's Dante's Inferno. Sure. And so that's my big number today, 65. Despite losing by 21, they still got some sort of positivity they can come out of this, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, both those guys being able to step up with the absence of OG Anunoby that entire series, I mean, they were big. And, I think a lot of people talk about the those Villanova 3 and how well they've played. But, to get those guys to step up, I think was big yesterday. And, I mean, if the Pacers weren't shooting 75% from the field or whatever, 65, whatever it ended up being from the field, over 50% from 3, I think the Knicks would have had a really good opportunity winning that game. But let's go ahead and get to a break and wrap up this second hour. And when we come back, we're talking more NBA. We're talking Grizzlies. We're also talking the NBA playoffs with DeMichael Cole from the Commercial Appeal. That's next on Sports Time.
There are many real estate companies out there, but then there's Banyan Tree Realtors on the Collierville Town Square. There are hands-on, family-owned boutique real estate companies whose agents have been offering exceptional attention to their clients for over 40 years. In an ever-changing world, Banyan Tree continues to maintain a small-town personal charm while providing a worldwide connection through its internet marketing presence. Personal service will never go out of style at Banyan Tree Realtors. Their agents are people you can trust, offering service you deserve. From residential homes to commercial properties, farmland, land lots, and historical houses, Banyan Tree has the expertise you can rely on. So if you're downsizing, upsizing, moving in, or moving on, give Banyan Tree Realtors a call today. Craig Smith and Mary Jean Smith and their agents are ready to serve you. Call today at 901-620-8920 or 901-359-2520.
Are you looking for a better way to sell farm, construction, or fleet equipment? Purple Wave Auction takes the hassle out of selling heavy equipment. Our experienced auction professionals make the entire process easy, and we'll market each asset not just to our enormous equipment buying community, but specifically to the right bidders who are eager to purchase your specific assets. We'll handle the paperwork and payments so you can get back to running your business. Join the growing list of happy sellers who don't just sell but succeed with Purple Wave Auction. Straight, simple, sold.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your buddy Johnny Radio. I'm here with Mark, the owner of Dyer's, out in Collierville's historic town square, where they've been cooking up them burgers since 1912, the old-fashioned way. Mark, what's going on in life? I see you got your 4 kids with you. What do they love about Dyer's?
Man, they love everything about Dyer's. They love all the great food that we serve, and they really like eating our good food and watching some of their favorite sports.
Braden, what do you like at Dyer's?
I like a bacon burger with fries, a milkshake, and with a Tigers game in the background.
Carter, who's your favorite football team?
The Carolina Panthers, and just with some macaroni with that sounds amazing.
My man Beckham, what's your favorite food over at Dyer's?
We like the double cheeseburgers.
Kinley, what is your favorite dish over at Dyer's?
Daddy's cheeseburgers and the Dallas Cowboys game in the background.
Just remember, everybody, bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team out and eat at our place.
So head on over to Dyer's in Collierville's historic town square.
The Home Depot has Memorial Day savings up to $500 off select laundry appliances from top brands like Samsung. Wash and dry in one cycle with the Samsung Ultra Capacity All-in-One Washer-Dryer Combo from the Home Depot. Then, enjoy your summer while your laundry takes care of itself. Right now, get Memorial Day savings up to $500 off select laundry appliances at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing valid May 16th through June 5th. U.S. only. See store online for details.
I think a lot about golf, and when I think golf, I think Miramichi. Did you know Miramichi Golf Course offers membership? It's a great way to play more golf for less out of pocket. Their memberships run for $300 a month plus tax, and that includes unlimited rounds and range balls, no extra card fees, priority tee time booking, and discounts in the pro shop. Oh, by the way, there's no initiation fee. Miramichi green fees, they'll allow you to choose the right rate at the right time on the right day for your needs. If morning tee times are more important, you can book up to 14 days ahead of time to reserve your spot. If rate is more important to you, there are discounted evening rates available that you can choose from. You'll find the lowest rates on Tuesday through Thursday afternoons. Sometimes you just need to escape the hustle and bustle of life. Miramichi Golf Course provides just the right place to solve that need. The name Miramichi means place of happy retreat. When you need a quiet, peaceful round of golf, please make your way to Miramichi.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Oh, yeah. Sports 56 Traffic.
Good afternoon. Traffic still on the increase over here. It's starting to really slow at times, actually, on 240 East at Poplar. 240s you get on to 385. We've watched that really start to build, headed out towards Collierville just in the last few minutes. It remains heavy out of Midtown on 240 South. Be careful. It's starting to really bunch up there at times southbound on 240 at South Parkway. Hey, 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in the Memphis area. Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant, the Aldwin, Zach, we're all with you. No Brett Norsworthy today, but he'll be back tomorrow. And joining us now, the Grizzlies beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal, DeMichael Cole. He joins us now to talk the NBA and also talk the Grizzlies. Plenty to get into today on both fronts. But DeMichael, thanks so much for joining us. And we've got to start with some Grizzlies news. It was announced earlier today, and you've been covering it, that Gigi Jackson has been named to the all-rookie second team, which is huge. I mean, second-round pick, to be able to get that nod is definitely big, and the role he played, I thought, was huge for the Grizzlies. What did you make of that? I know you wrote about it, you tweeted about it, that Desmond Bane was very big towards the end of the season about how Gigi deserved a spot on the rookie team. What did you make of it finally being announced that Gigi Jackson would be on the second team?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of on the fence about it because, as I was doing, my ballot, and I had him second team on my ballot as well. But as I was doing the ballot, if you see, some of the names, that were left off, I mean, there are some notable players that didn't make the cut. And you always, your mind always goes to, oh boy, because we're probably going to see it with Jaren, tomorrow when all the defensive teams are announced. But you start to go to the fact that, oh man, maybe these Grizzlies guys are going to get discredited for the fact, they say the empty stats thing and all of that stuff. And when I was putting my list together, I think first team, you can be a Grizzlies homer and say, oh, Gigi should have been first team, but a real list would have saw it. There were no surprises pretty much with the first team. Chet Holmgren, Victor Wembanyama, I mean, those were unanimous for a reason. Brandon Miller was really good. He's Rookie of the Year in a lot of seasons. Wami Aquez in Miami, I mean, he earned that role. Same as Brandon Podziemski in Golden State. Neither of those guys, were projected to have the type of seasons that they had as middle to late first-round picks. But after that, it got a little muddy. Derek Lively, I think we all could agree could be there. Keontae George, kind of like Gigi Jackson, came on as the season went. And Amin Thompson, same thing. Early in the season, didn't get a lot of playing time with Houston, and then when Fred VanVleet got hurt and, the Rockets' playoff destinies was pretty much clear, I mean, he took off.
Sure.
But you notice one guy who didn't make the team was Azar Thompson, the other Thompson twin, who I think you can make an argument at the beginning of the season, after the first 2-3 weeks of the season, he was right up there with Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren in terms of Rookie of the Year candidates. He was top 3. He was above Brandon Miller and all of that. And, of course, the book got out on him, right? Everyone learned, okay, he can't shoot, and he became a liability in that area. And as great as he is defensively and the rebounding and all of that, it just got to the point where he couldn't be played, in certain lineups and whatnot. So, basically, as I did the ballot, I realized, okay, Derek Lively, Amin Thompson, Keontae George, those guys are shoo-ins. But you had 2 spots, and I felt like there were 4 guys that you had to choose between. Cason Wallace and Gigi Jackson got the last 2 spots. Gigi actually is the last spot on the second team.
Wow.
But still, they got the last 2. But the other 2 guys that I was looking at were Trace Jackson-Davis out in Golden State and Azar Thompson. And I felt like, some people may look at Azar Thompson, beginning of the season stretch, give him a vote. Trace Jackson-Davis, coming off the bench in Golden State, just like Brandon Podziemski, had a big role over there, but impacted winning more so than arguably G.G. Jackson because of he was playing with the guys on 10-day contracts and whatnot. But the point is, I was very, in between on if he would actually get it. But it's good to see. I think he deserves it. He was fourth in the NBA in points per game for rookies, and we saw from January on when he got the playing time, he only got better each month and really took advantage of it.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And I saw a tweet, Sean Coleman quote tweeted one of your tweets about G.G. Jackson. I thought this was interesting. He said, G.G. Jackson is the 48th rookie age 19 or younger to ever earn all rookie first or second team honors. Of those 48 players, Jackson is the first and only rookie age 19 or younger in NBA history to earn all rookie honors as a second-round pick or undrafted player. So really, kind of very rare for a player like that. We know, being a second-round pick is kind of tough. Usually you are not really in the rotation. You're a project guy for the most part. But to be able to do that, and I'm with you. I thought maybe that people would say this Grizzlies team, he was getting it when their season was over, and it was him and a bunch of 10-day guys out there, and of course he's going to look good. But I was definitely really glad to see him. And so when you talk about G.G. Jackson, what does this offseason look like for him? It sounds like he's going to participate in Summer League with the Grizzlies. But in your mind, if you're one of the coaches on the staff, what are you telling him to work on in the offseason? What does this offseason look like for G.G. Jackson?
It's all about the game around the scoring. Mm-hmm. We know you can score at this point, and quite frankly, we know you're going to continue to work on that because you love to score.
Yeah,
that's who G.G. Jackson is. He wants the ball. He wants to be able to put it in the cup. But what else? Are you going to continue to work and be that 6'9" wing switchable defender who can guard 4 positions and possibly even 5? Mm-hmm. Are you going to really drastically improve your playmaking? Because we want to be honest. You got to be honest with yourself. If you look at the Grizzlies right now, and some people say, I think G.G. Jackson should be a starter one day. Jaren Jackson Jr. just had the best passing season of his career, and he still was below average.
Yeah.
So that should tell you where he was in previous years, near the bottom of the league, pretty much, from his position standpoint when it comes to playmaking versatility. Having 2 guys in the lineup that aren't average playmakers can be tough. Mm-hmm. Can be tough, but you want G.G. Jackson to grow in that area because you see it. He's so crafty off the dribble. It's hard for guys to stay in front of him. At this point, it's all about the game slowing down, making the right read, and things like that. So you want him to. I feel like it should be similar to like how the Grizzlies prioritized Desmond Bane and Zaire Williams off seasons in the past, where they went into Summer League. It wasn't about the scoring. The Grizzlies, when they sent Desmond Bane to Summer League, they didn't say, "Hey, go score 35 every game." It was, hey, let's see you make the right read. Let's put you on the ball more in situations like that. Same thing with Zaire Williams. They didn't care if he scored 30 or whatever. They honestly didn't care if he had 10 turnovers. It was more about putting him into situations that would be best equipped for him to grow in and best equipped for the Grizzlies as a whole. We know the Grizzlies like to have, interchangeable players in the lineup when you talk about from 2 to the 4 and things like that. So you want G.G. Jackson to grow in those areas that affect winning. Yeah. Become a better all-around rebounder, screen setter, become a better playmaker. And if he improves in those areas, we know what he is as a scorer.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody is worried about G.G. Jackson scoring.
No.
It's all about those other areas that really impact winning.
For sure. Absolutely. I'm sure you were locked into the Combine last week and its coverage on ESPN and NBA TV. What were your takeaways from the NBA Combine when it comes to that number 9 pick for the Grizzlies?
Yeah, nothing too wild because I don't put too much stock in NBA Combines or really the NFL ones either, but more so the NBA because it's mad. When you look at these guys shooting the jump shots and stuff, I've been to open gyms with NBA players, and a lot of times you see guys who shoot 28% during an NBA season not miss in an open gym. Right. I've seen it with my own eyes. So you give these guys, 35 shots and all of them are wide open. You don't have to worry about a closeout or 6'11" Jaren Jackson Jr. Running full speed at you or anything like that. You're in your comfort zone. You do this every day, so there's a comfort level there. So, when guys shoot, 25 or 35 on three-pointers and stuff like that in those settings, doesn't really mean too much to me. But at the same time, I think there were certain things that stand out. You always want to make sure, what your eye. I think the best way to look at the combine is you want confirmation of what your eyes see.
Mm-hmm.
You say, hey, I think Zach Edey moves laterally better than people give him credit for. And then he goes to the agility test and performs well, and you say, okay, that's what I thought. That type of thing. I think that's what you look for. So I think Zach Edey, if you look at his numbers, he improved his measurements from last year, which I think was big for him. A big conversation with him is the fact that a lot of people will say, oh, he has a limited ceiling, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you look at it from the standpoint of he just showed from his junior year to his senior year that, hey, I can get better laterally. I can get better, athletically. And you should believe that there's room to grow. I mean, he's 22. So I think that stood out to me. Stephon Castle, that whole situation with him, with the measurable mistakes. But more than anything, he's kind of declaring himself as a point guard in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
Stephon Castle has said he's a point guard. If you look at him when he played at UConn, played off of the ball. And I thought he was actually pretty good as an off-ball guard.
Sure.
Tristan Nuke was the point guard there. But that kind of, I want to see how NBA teams are going to react to that because he's 6'5.5" without shoes. You're talking about a guy that's probably going to be about 6'7", and he can play point guard, wants to play point guard, but he's performed well off the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how that projects because as a two guard right now, I would draft him higher than as a point guard. I gotta looking at him as a point guard. I gotta go rewatch his film from a pretty much entirely different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's a quote unquote point guard, I mean he could be there possibly at the nine spot for the Grizzlies if other teams are just sold on the idea of not wanting to play him at the two. I mean, there have been reports out there that he's telling teams he's a point guard, he's not a shooting guard, and things like that. So those are some of the things that have stood out to me. There wasn't anything that overly stood out when it comes to like Donovan Clingan, Ron Holland, any of those guys. We know, the top prospects don't really participate in the scrimmages, so we didn't have to worry about seeing them scrimmaging and stuff like that. But yeah, it was more about just the interviews and everything that I've heard. Sounds like, it wasn't – it's more about what these guys are going to do when they get these individual meetings with the Grizzlies and they really get to work out with them more so than at the Combine.
Well, I like what you say about Zach Edey because I think you look at this guy and like you said, 22 or however 22, 23, however old he is, he still has a lot of room to develop and I think is eager to develop. I mean, you look at this guy was, a borderline 3-star out of high school that was really unknown and, gets on at Purdue and then turns into the best player in college basketball and a back-to-back player of the year in college basketball. And so I do think this is a guy that, can improve and get better. And I think when you tell this guy, hey, we need you to work on this, I think he's going to be a guy that goes and works on that and gets better in it. So I do like that point a lot. I saw on your Twitter about an hour ago, you quote tweeted a tweet about Khalil Ware, and you put an eyeball emoji on it. What do you think about Khalil Ware? I loved Khalil Ware in college, especially when he transferred to Indiana. What do you think about him as a prospect, and do you think that's a guy to maybe keep an eye on around that 9 pick?
Yeah, that's a guy to keep an eye on for me. When I watch him, and this isn't a direct comparison because honestly, this is the wrong time to say this because of what just happened in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But when you watch him, you will see some glimpses, some flashes of Derek Lively.
Mm.
And like I said, this is the wrong time to say that because right now Derek Lively is like looking like prime Tyson
Sure.
Chandler, like the next coming. But if you look at Derek Lively at Duke, what led to him being a mid-first round pick, and you watch, what sophomore year, freshman year at Oregon, there were some glimpses of this.
Mm-hmm.
He had a really solid season for a freshman, but he wasn't starting over there. Transfers to Indiana, makes the Big Ten all-defensive team, averages 15. Basically 16 points, 10 boards, and 2 blocks a game.
Yeah.
Almost 2 assists a game as well. Didn't really, turn the ball over too much. Pretty much same assist numbers, turnover numbers. Shot the three-pointer, not a lot, but smooth shooting stroke. He's a modern big.
Mm-hmm.
He's a modern big. And I think the Grizzlies should pursue is a guy who's not going to be a high usage, but high impact.
Right.
You want low usage, high impact. You want a guy who's going to set screens, block shots, catch alley-oops, rebound the basketball, and play make when you need him to. You don't need someone who's going to get on the low block and say, Jaren, John Dez, get out of my way. I'm going to ISO this guy for 7 seconds. You don't need anyone like that. You just need someone who is going to do the low usage things at a very elite clip. And you look at this guy, man, you look at Khalil Ware, everything that we're seeing, like this, it projects. He was a top 10 recruit, in his class. He spent 2 years in college, and his game drastically improved going to Indiana. He was a Big Ten, all defensive guy. Like I said, capable three-point shooter. Free throws, I think he shot 66% in his college career overall. He projects well. I mean, this is the type of guy you look at as someone who can impact an NBA rotation if you put him in the right role, like a Derek Lively type role. You see, the Mavs don't ask Derek Lively to. They don't give him the ball with 7 seconds on the shot clock and move out of the way and say, go do this guy. He's cleaning up stuff. He's active on the glass, and he's the defensive anchor. Khalil Ware has some of those same attributes, man. I'm looking at it, and it's like, this is a guy who we've seen in the past, people have felt like the Grizzlies have reached, a little bit for their guys. Zaire Williams, David Roddy, Jake LaRavia, all those guys were projected to go a little bit lower than they did. This is one of those guys. He's getting mid-first round projections, but if the Grizzlies like him and they see some of what I see, look out.
Yeah, I like that. I would not mind at all if the Grizzlies took Khalil Ware with their spot. We're talking to DeMichael Cole, the Grizzlies beat writer over at the Commercial Appeal. All right, DeMichael, let's talk about some of the NBA playoff action over the weekend. Last night, all eyes on Timberwolves and Nuggets, and what a game it was. A game of runs. Nuggets come out, look really good in the first half, close the second quarter on a big run to jump out to a big lead at the half. But then the second half, it was all Timberwolves. They go on a massive run, I think, into the third quarter, and kind of was close in that fourth quarter. It looked at times like maybe the Nuggets would be able to settle down and win that one, but Timberwolves able to pull ahead and win it. What did you make of that series, and what do you make of this Timberwolves team now advancing to the conference finals?
Yeah, I called this one, Brian. I don't know if you remember this, Brian. I called this one.
Yeah,
I said, and I think when we were last talking, that was when Denver started making its run or whatever, and it was looking like the series was turning. And I was like, well, I said Minnesota in 7. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with it.
You sure did.
I'll tell you what, this is no hyperbole here. Probably the best defense I've seen.
Yeah.
Last 15 years.
Wow.
Like, you show me a defense the last 15 years, I'll tell you why this defense matches up. I mean, however you want to play, they got it. They can beat you in a different type of ways. And what impresses me the most about this defense is they're not just playmakers. We see Jaden McDaniels can get the steals, the deflections, the blocks. We see Anthony Edwards can get the steals, like we saw, a couple he turned into dunks. We see him get the highlight blocks like he did against Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and those guys, all of that. Mike Conley, we know about his, hands defensively. Rudy Gobert with the blocks. Like, they got all these guys that make plays defensively, but they're just as sound. They're like the Grizzlies from the perspective of, the Grizzlies defense is all about activity, getting steals, blocks, stocks, all that. But they're like the Spurs from a sound standpoint, like the prime Spurs years where wherever we need to be, we're going to be there. You're not going to get too many easy looks. The only open looks that you're going to get are the ones we want to give you. Jokic, after he missed a couple threes, they said, you know what, we're going to give him that shot. That was the open look.
Yeah.
Everything else, you got to work so hard to score against that defense. And it's never easy. Mike Conley can stay in front of a lot of guys. Anthony Edwards can stay in front of a lot of guys. And even when you get past Anthony Edwards, you hear footsteps coming behind you. And even when you get past Anthony Edwards or Mike Conley, you got to beat Rudy Gobert at the rim. You got to finish around him. And if you try to finish around him, Jalen McDaniels or Karl Anthony Towns could keep coming flying from the weak side. Or it could be the other way around. Or it could be Rudy Gobert coming flying from the weak side when you got to score over 7-foot Karl Anthony Towns. Like, the defense is just well put together. And it's one of those things that's hard to duplicate.
Yeah.
Every team is not going to have a 6'10" long wing like Jalen McDaniels who can guard, point guard. That's rare. Every team is not going to have a 7-foot guy who spent a lot of his career at center like Karl Anthony Towns who you can play at the 4 because he's a 40% three-point shooter, but he also can play on the other end because since he's been in college, coming out of Kentucky, one of the things he was known for was having the ability to really slide his feet really well. So those two things, having a 7-foot guy shoot 40% from three-point range and being able to slide his feet, rare. Having a 6'10" guy you can put at the 3 who shoots well enough to play there on the offensive end and can guard there on the defensive end, rare. Like, they're put well together. And people talk about how they were built to beat the Nuggets. They were just built. We talk about super teams. This is a super defense. Like, they're going to be tough for anybody to beat.
So what do you expect in this conference final series against the Mavericks? Mavericks have played well, and on the other side, and I think you could say, I think earlier in the regular season, the big knock on Dallas was their defense, but that defense has gotten better as the season has gone on. It's been pretty good throughout the playoffs. What do you expect in this conference finals in the West?
Honestly, I expect this to be a little bit of a beatdown. Dallas is good.
Yeah.
But this is another monster. These ain't the babies. These ain't the babies in OKC. These are some guys that are gonna pull on your jersey a little bit, and you think Luka's complaining to the referees. Now watch this series. He's about to be looking over every other play. You don't see this. You don't see that. I mean, the Timberwolves are gonna foul you. Guess what? When Jaden McDaniels gets 2 fouls, congratulations, he's going to the bench, but Nickeil Alexander-Walker's coming into the game.
Yeah.
If Rudy Gobert or Karl Anthony Towns get 2 fouls, you got the big in foul trouble. Now Naz Reid or Kyle Anderson's coming to the game. There's no defensive slippage with those guys. Like, even to a lesser degree, Monty Morris.
Yeah.
If Mike Conley is in foul trouble, good positional defender at point guard. The point is they have the ability to play physical because they have depth. The Nuggets can't afford to lose a Jokic. Gobert can hit you a little bit harder on screens and stuff like that because no sweat. They got the 6th man of the year off the bench coming in to replace them. So I see, 5 or 6 games. I don't see this one going 7 for sure.
Wow. Well, you saying that about Luka reminded me of, what was it, Game 2 when there was like a no call on something that everyone on Denver thought was a foul, and Mike Malone just comes storming off the bench into a timeout and just yelling at the official. I mean, imagine Luka that complains about everything when something like that happens. I mean,
it's a whole different physicality when you play these dudes, man. I mean, Anthony Edwards, he's going to pull on that jersey a little bit. Mike Conley, that's a crafty vet. Karl Anthony Towns, we see him commit dumb fouls every now and then, just running over guys. And some of the fouls we see Jaren commit from time to time, but they play physical.
Yeah.
They play the type of basketball I like to see teams play, and that instead of just giving up the 2 points and say, I'm going to preserve this foul for later, say, no, he might miss the free throws. Let's foul him just in case.
Yeah.
Like, that's how they play defense. And the Mavs 14, we can talk for 30 minutes about who the third scorer is over there because they rely on 2 guys, and that's going to be tough when you're playing a lineup that can throw 4 or 5 guys capable of being all-defense type of player. I mean, Jaden McDaniels and Rudy Gobert are probably going to make the all-defensive teams. Anthony Edwards, when he's locked in, he's just as capable as those guys. So they're going to have tough matchups, and for the Wolves, I feel like you just slow one of those guys down most nights, you win, and they'll be positioned to do that.
Yeah. Last thing real quick for you, DeMichael. On the other side, in the East, what do you expect? Pacers and Celtics. I think Boston has kind of rolled this entire playoffs. I think a lot of people, I should say, overreact after, one loss, and then Boston comes back out and looks like Boston again. What do you expect in this series?
Yeah, I see the same as that last series pretty much. I mean, 5 games, maybe 6, but I say 5. Boston is very physical. They're going to play really good defense. Tyrese Halliburton just doesn't consistently have that killer instinct. You before that Game 7, everyone just kept saying basically that he had to be more of a scorer, and that's because if you look at the games before that, he's averaging 15, 17. It's like, no, you gotta realize you're the best shot creator.
Yeah.
You and Pascal Siakam got to carry the offense, and I mean, the Celtics just got a lot of guys to throw at you. They're going to throw Drew Holiday at him. They're going to throw Derek White at him. Peyton Pritchard. Like, it's going to be tough task for him. And I think the Celtics just wear him down. Good defenders, good depth, and the offense is just as good as the Pacers' offense. They were number 1 and 2 in the NBA offensively, but the difference is the Celtics are a much better defense. So I think they make quick work of that one.
Yeah, I'm with you. But, DeMichael, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Always so much fun chatting with you. Enjoy your week. We'll do it again next Monday.
All right, take it easy.
Thanks, DeMichael. DeMichael Cole joining us from the Commercial Appeal. Talk some Grizzlies and the NBA playoffs. Always love chatting some hoops with DeMichael. But we need to get to a break, so let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about what's trending.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
This is hard to believe, but the Hyundai Santa Fe is actually better. I know, that's crazy, isn't it? The 2024 Santa Fe is new, top to bottom, and even better than before. It's almost as big as the Palisade, so roomy, and now it's got a standard third row. Everybody's clamoring for that. And it's the best SUV when it comes to the ride than ever before. You know how with SUVs you love it because you're sitting high, but you don't get that luxury kind of ride like a sedan? You do with the 2024 Santa Fe. It's the best riding SUV ever, and it's quiet. It's the ultimate family car. All you've got to do to be sold is to test drive it. The people at Homer Skelton Hyundai are saying, come try it. You'll love it. Homer Skelton Hyundai, right at the corner of Highway 78 and Craft Road. First exit in Mississippi. Go see the ultimate SUV, the 2024 Santa Fe.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
For more than half a century, contractors and trade professionals have relied on WeatherGuard for heavy-duty truck and van storage equipment, not just to protect their valuable tools, but to protect their professional reputations. For pros, the WeatherGuard badge makes a statement about what drives them. It says, bring it on, been there, done that, we've got your back, without saying a word. And the folks at WeatherGuard, they're just as driven as the hardworking pros they serve. See what it means to be driven at weatherguard.com.
It's time to get to Gossett Kia on the Pike so Bobby J can put you in your new Kia today. Want summer fun and 41 MPG? We Gossett with 2024 Kia Forte LXS. $199 a month, $34.99 due at signing. How about 282 miles of EPA estimated range with new 2023 Kia EV6 Win? $249 a month. Get extra room and extra fun with 2024 Kia Telluride LX. $357 a month, both $39.99 due at signing. All 24-month lease plus 0% APR for 48 months available on the all-new Kia EV9. And peace of mind with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So hurry to Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike. Online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Include all rebates and incentives. Price excludes $695 PF. Lease includes PF $695, $650 acquisition fee, EV6 P5610964, MSRP $50,200, Telluride RG $510,849, MSRP $38,305, Forte LXS RE78169, MSRP $21,820. Plus finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 5/31/2024 with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Here's what we're seeing. Heavy traffic over here on 240 East from, let's say, Mill Branch all the way out to 385. Some of that traffic getting onto Billmore's Parkway, which has been in pretty good shape so far out towards Collierville. Now, it remains packed in here on 240 East, trying to get past Poplar up to Walnut Grove. It's cranking up with more volume as we speak on 40 East from Sycamore View Road all the way out into Fayette County. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Lee Aldwin, Zach with you. Brett Norsworthy not here. He'll be back tomorrow as he's in St. Louis. Or I guess coming back. He was in St. Louis this weekend for Cardinal baseball, but he'll be back tomorrow. A couple things I wanted to get to during What's Trending, but I wanted to start off with something I saw on the TV. We got TV in here. It's on ESPN that I saw during our interview with DeMichael. They were like whipping around a couple OTAs, training camps for the NFL, and they were with New England. And they were talking about Drake May and, you know, what he was doing and yada, 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 obviously top pick and whatever. And they're showing like all the quarterbacks like running from station to station, and I'm seeing them, and there's this like giant quarterback in the group. I'm like, who in the world is that? It's Joe Milton. Joe Milton is a New England Patriot. I don't know if anybody knew that, but he looks massive compared to the other quarterbacks in that quarterback room. We already knew he was big, but man, that was kind of surprising to see. It looked like Drake May was running with he was working behind two quarterbacks, I think they said. So I guess right now working with the third string, if that's how you want to look at it. We talked earlier with David Cobb about Dabo Swinney and his comments from last week at the ACC meetings when he's talking about the transfer portal. It blows my mind every time I bring it up. The only non-service academy to take no transfers in the offseason. Obviously, the service academies can't take transfers. So really, Clemson, the only team that can take in transfer players, that didn't take in transfer players. Paul Feinbaum talked about Dabo Swinney's future at Clemson today on his show. He said, quote, people that graduated from Clemson, people that are Clemson fans, they don't think Dabo Swinney is going to be there for a long time. When I say long time, I mean 3 to 5 years. I think his time is nearly up. So it sounds like even Clemson fans, and honestly, I don't know if I blame him. I mean, you look at Dabo Swinney and all the success he had at Clemson, the championships, the championship appearances. You know, for a time, and I talked about this last week, it felt like you're at a time at Clemson where they were so successful. I remember watching those teams in high school and seeing all the success at Clemson. And even when I got into college, seeing, you know, all the success at Clemson. And you would think that they would be able to do a good job in the transfer portal. You know, a team that has had a lot of success in a power conference and, you know, has this kind of name about them. They're Clemson. And you would think they'd be able to go out in the transfer portal. Dabo Swinney is not some, you know, random coach that is just coming into your home saying, hey, I'm the coach of this school. You know, he's saying, I'm Dabo Swinney, I'm the head coach of Clemson. And I think carries a little bit of cachet with him with who he is. But you look back at these last couple of years, really ever since the DJU era of Clemson, where he comes in and he's not really what everyone thought he would be, and he goes and transfers to Oregon State, and now it's Cade Klubnik time, and Cade Klubnik is very clearly way young and not ready to be the starting quarterback for an ACC program like Clemson, and you know, had some flashes, but still whatever. But you're seeing that this isn't the Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson Clemson teams. And so I think when you have a fan base, when you have boosters like that are so used to the being at the top, being in that championship conversation every year, and then you have them now this year. I mean, going into the ACC, I think a lot of people would say probably second in the ACC this year. Florida State, number one. They're probably number two. I think there will be some people that say maybe the U, but I think you've got to see the U prove it first before you put them over Clemson. That just doesn't sit well with a lot of the boosters and the fan base at Clemson. What did we have the fan last year? What, Tyler from Spartanburg or whatever that called into the to the coaches show and let Dabo have a piece of his mind. So I do think that there are probably a lot of fans at Clemson that don't like the way Dabo's going about his off seasons, and so I think if we go out there this year and Clemson's a 7-5 or something like that season, 8-4, I think even. I think there are going to be a lot of people that are not happy with Dabo Swinney, and I think if that happens for the next couple of years, I think he might, his time might come to an end. I mean, we were all thinking this year in the offseason, could this be when Dabo tries to go take another job? Texas A&M's going to be open. Texas A&M's open, and Alabama's open. Oh, and I don't think anybody thought he would, go get the Alabama job. But there's certainly openings out there that people said maybe Dabo says, I'm done with Clemson and I want to go somewhere else. So it's going to be interesting. I think this is I don't want to say a make or break year for Clemson, but I think it's a big one for Dabo.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a big one. People talk about the demise of Clemson, quote unquote, how they haven't been keeping up with the Joneses and whatnot. They're 30-10 in their last 40 games. Yeah. They haven't just fallen off a cliff. I'm looking at their schedule right now, Bryant. Their hardest two games are Georgia and Florida State. Those are the two hardest games, but you still have NC State, Stanford, Wake Forest, Louisville, Virginia Tech, Pittsburgh, of course, the South Carolina game, Citadel, and FCS school. So they're not. The schedule isn't bad. They play App State, which is they're always competitive. Mm-hmm. But Brian, I think this team, it would be a disappointment for sure if they won 8 to 9 games. I think this team can win 10 games. I'm
with you. Yeah.
I think 10-2 is their ceiling. Could they beat Florida State? I'm not going to doubt Dabo Swinney, but his rigidness is a bad thing, but it also makes him who he is, and I actually respect it. Standing on who he is as a person, and not trying to conform to societal norms, which is hard because everyone wants to win. So getting that next advantage and going and recruit players out the portal, everyone's doing it, but he's standing on business, on who he is, and so. Yeah. People may look at it as, refusing to change, but hey, the result, they aren't winning national championships like they have been in the past, but this team is still a top flight foe when it comes to ACC competition. They're still doing good.
Sure, no, absolutely. I just, I think it's going to be to his demise. I mean, I think over time, I hope it works for him because I like Dabo. I like you said, we talked to David about it about an hour ago. I like what he stands for. He's a seemingly a very religious man. I respect that a lot. I'm also view myself as a religious man, and so I respect that. I respect the type of person it seems like, at least that we see he is. Seems like a really good guy and all of that stuff. But I don't want it to be to his demise. And who knows? They've been a good team. We were talking about Bill Bender's top. He ranked every single coach in college football and had Dabo Swinney as number 2. And he pointed that out. Like you said, everyone wants to talk about Clemson and Dabo not being Dabo anymore, but they're 30-10 in their last 3 seasons. They've had a lot of success. Now, it's not up to that standard, and I think that standard is almost going to become more rigid almost with the 12-team college football playoff, because I think there's a lot of teams that can say, oh, we're not going to be a top 4 team in the country. I mean, that's crazy. Maybe we'll have a great season and sneak in there, but really right now we're playing for a New Year's 6 game. But I think when you say 12-team playoff, anybody can get in. that's when people are going to say, oh, you got to make it to the 12-team playoff or we're going to have issues. And so I hope Dabo's fine, but we'll have to see. Really interesting stuff, though. Paul Feinbaum saying that, it could be quicker than some people think. Another thing I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to get to this with David, but we didn't have time. The NCAA put out a statement on Friday, I believe, about sports gambling and the betting culture, sports betting culture, and the negative impact it has on the mental health of collegiate athletes, which I think is very interesting. Here in Tennessee, if you just sports bet on your phone with one of the many apps that you can download and sports bet on, you cannot bet on college player props. But there are a lot of states where you can. I know North Carolina, you can bet on player props. I think Ohio, you can bet on player props. And so it's exactly like NBA. The statement pointed out Armando Bacot, so I'll use him as an example. You can go out and bet, okay, Armando Bacot over or under 15.5 points. Exact same thing as like professionals. They have it with college football too. You can go out and bet, Jalen Milroe will throw for over however many yards or whatever. But you see these players, and like I said, they pointed out Armando Bacot. He came out publicly last year and talked about how he was getting DMs from people, from fans that were, talking bad about him, and because of his performances, because they're saying, hey man, how could you not get 15 points should be easy for you? How are you not getting 15 points? You cost me my parlay, or you cost me my bet. And we're talking about 18 to 24-year-old kids, and I know they're adults, but, I remember when I was in college and, I would not call myself an adult, probably. I think there's a lot of college kids out there that would not call themselves an adult. But I just think it's an issue, and I know the NCAA put out this statement, but they put it out hoping that these sports books would take off collegiate player props. I thought this was interesting. It said 1 in 3 high-profile athletes receive abusive messages from someone with a betting interest, and that's among all of their sports that you can bet on when it comes to college player props. So I think it said college football, college basketball, both men's and women's for basketball. And it has something like there was a big spike during March Madness, that there were a lot of players. They had this AI technology software company that they basically monitored any tweet that was flagged as like abusive towards a player, that it flagged it and took it, and they were able to review it, and they said there was this massive spike during March Madness, and like over 500 different tweets during March Madness or something like that was specifically calling out a specific player because they had them in a pick or a straight bet or a parlay and it didn't hit. And I don't know. I know there's some people that are on the side of, well, they're getting paid all this money, they're adults, whatever. They deal with it. But I'm kind of on the other side. I mean, I think college I think it's kind of like a gray area, but and maybe it's because we don't have college player props here in Tennessee, and I've never bet on a college player prop. So maybe I'm just like, whatever. I don't have it, so I don't really do it. So it's not really anything for me. I'm sure if I was living in Ohio or North Carolina and I saw, oh, you're telling me I can bet this guy to go over this many yards? Yeah, I'll bet that. But I'm kind of in the boat of let's not bet on specific college players to, player props. And let's definitely not verbally abuse them in their DMs if it doesn't hit. That's ridiculous. And I don't think any player should go through that.
I agree with you. College is, like you said, it's a institution of growth. It's a place of growth.
Yeah.
And you are young. We're young, like you said, 18 to 21, 22, 23, sometimes 24, even a little bit older. You're
way
putting
older if you're DeAndre Williams.
Yeah, or that guy that played at Howard, I forgot his name, Seth Towns.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, like 27.
Yeah.
But my thing is this. College players can't be put in the same boat as professionals because they're not professionals. That's that's the separator right there. So when you're wagering your money on college players, you have to understand there's more room for fluctuation. They might go severely over, they may go severely under, because in college is often these guys are system players. Now, of course, you have those guys who are really above the system, and not in terms of they're just big time playmakers. No system's going to hold them back, but you just have to keep that in mind when you're doing that, and especially you don't berate. I don't believe doing this in a professional level either, too.
Right.
Like because you berating guys because they don't get a certain amount of points for you bet on them.
Right.
You put your money on them. So with the results are based on what you thought would happen, not off what they need to do or what they should do because of your little bit.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So, and I'm kind of like you. I don't think we should be. I don't think any player should be verbally abused because of betting, for whether professional or college, but certainly not college players. But let's go ahead and get to our final break of the day. When we come back, wrap up today's show with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Memorial Day weekend is coming, which means many folks will be grilling. And if you're firing up the grill this weekend or any weekend, there's one place to go for everything you need: Memphis Barbecue Supply. You need charcoal? They have 10 different brands of either lump or briquette charcoal. Pellets? How about over 2 tons in stock? 12 different flavors and blends. Looking for wood for smoking? Memphis Barbecue Supply has 9 different types of wood in chips, chunks, mini logs, and logs. You can even mix and match your wood from their bins of loose chunks. Whatever it is that you're grilling, steaks, ribs, burgers, pork butts, you name it, they have over 378 different rubs, sauces, injections, and raw spices to make sure your food tastes great. If you have any questions, they have award-winning pitmasters on staff that can help ensure that your cook will be the best ever. Memphis Barbecue Supply, 7041 Stage Road, or online, mbbqsupply.com.
The times they are a-changin'. Bob Dylan's song is even more meaningful today in the real estate industry. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Benstorff Realtors, and in the months to come, if you decide to sell your home, you better have a knowledgeable agent to guide you through the changes that are taking place. As I tell people, it's not that you don't know the answers, you don't know the questions. So, if you or someone you know is thinking of selling, talk to 2 to 3 experienced real estate brokers to guide you through the changes, but make sure that I am one of them. I have a highly successful strategic marketing program that can mean the difference in when you sell and what you make. We're also affiliated with leading real estate companies of the world, a relocation network that means added exposure for your home from buyers moving into the Memphis area. Find out why people often say that when you want the job done, all shell done. You can reach me at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. That's memphisrelocate.com or 483-0546.
Are you aware? It's patio season. Family Leisure sure is. That's why they have factory direct pricing on swimming pools, spas, and even, yes, patio furniture. Yes, sir, it's indeed patio season. So come by Family Leisure and check out all the brand new 2024 patio furniture sets. And with patio season here, you know that pool season will be here before you even know it. So buy now to get in line for your pool installation and get pre-season pricing. Plus, you could save $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, even up to $5,000 on all spas and swim spas. Family Leisure has got special pricing on all in-stock saunas, theater seating, pool tables, and even outdoor kitchens. I love it when it's patio season because of all the fantastic deals that Family Leisure makes available just for you. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
All of us tend to overdo things a little bit once spring takes hold, and some of the time we might wake up with a little bit of a headache and a lot of appetite. Your answer to a big night before is a breakfast or lunch at Sunrise. Sunrise East on Poplar and Sunrise on Jefferson are made for filling your belly with sweet relief. Have some Signature Square biscuits, some perfectly prepared eggs, or at lunch, a nice juicy Sunrise burger. And if your night before isn't quite over, both Sunrise locations have a full bar. Sunrise on Poplar and Sunrise on Jefferson, the perfect place to get over last night.
Includes all rebates and incentives. Price excludes $695 PF. Lease includes PF $695. $650 acquisition fee. EV6 P5610964. MSRP $50,200. Telluride RG 510 $849. MSRP $38,305. Forte LXS RE 78169. MSRP $21,820. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 5/31/2024 with approved credit. Dealer stock only. I got Jeff Allen on the line to hear about some crazy deals happening at Gossett Kia southbound Mariah.
Randy, I'd love to give all our customers our best deal. 2024 Kia Forte LXS gets 41 MPG highway, $199 a month, $34.99 due at signing. 282 miles EPA estimated range will get you where you want to go in the 2023 Kia EV6 Win, $249 a month, plus a 2024 Telluride LX, $357 a month. Both $39.99 due at signing and 24-month lease.
And 0% for 48 months on 2024 EV9 and peace of mind with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, we'll make you happy at Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskell.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, what I learned today, and I just learned it during the break, everybody remembers Chris Davis Jr., the cornerback for Auburn that had the kick six back in whenever that was. I think I was like in middle school. But everyone remembers Chris Davis, an unbelievable athlete. Well, today, his son, Chris Davis III, or CJ, as he is known, picked up an offer from Auburn. Class of 2028 running back picks up an offer from Auburn, so that is huge. What I could have done without today, these numbers that have come out, someone with 247 Sports talked to agents, coaches, and collective operators about how much it would cost to get a Power 4 starter at each position. The starting quarterback market, $500,000. Crazy that it's costing them that much, and it goes down for every single position. Beam me tonight. We're having to roll quick. We ran long in that last segment. Beam me tonight to one of these baseball games. Beam me to the Cardinals game tonight. Should be a really fun one in St. Louis against the Orioles. Hopefully they can pull it out. Cardinals right now a favorite, which is surprising. But that's all the time we have today. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
You are in your 72nd year of business. Your son William is now joining you. What do you think is the